I'll call this Bang Bang. Seriously?
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. Pull up, bitch.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up.
Objection. Objection.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. KO. Bang bang.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. You're a bitch, bro.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. Right?
Yeah.
The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up. The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up.
Bang, bang.
Right?
Yeah.
The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up. The bang bang, the bang bang.
Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Bang, bang.
All right, Mr. Lally, your next witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor, the Commonwealth calls Trooper Michael Proctor to the stand. Please state your name and spell your last name for the jury.
Michael Proctor, 𝗺𝗄𝗃𝗺.
You're a bitch, bro.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up.
I'm going to allow it.
Bang, bang.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up.
I'm going to allow it.
Bang, bang.
My name is Aidan Kearney, also known as Turtleboy.
Is a senior editor for Turtleboy Daily News.
I'm a big fan.
We've broken hundreds of stories that the mainstream media won't touch.
Some blogger in Massachusetts who's getting to the bottom of this better than anybody.
Why is it Turtleboy that is covering such important issues? Where is the rest of the media?
You did not say that you were gonna take my baby out of revenge and make him a transgender baby.
Stop it.
Don't you want to ask some questions? I know you do.
I do.
I know you do.
People don't like the things that I say and want me to stop saying them, but I won't. I'm never gonna stop. These are the kind of stories that must be told.
And I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. And we will continue on our journey for justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Reed.
Tick, tick, boom. Boys, go baby, we bringing our toys. Boys, chop up and sing, it should be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out.
We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets.
Karen Reed has supporters who've shown up in large numbers.
Tick, tick, boom.
Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this. So it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
This is the first time I think I've ever seen this. An outpouring of support for someone accused of murdering a Boston police officer. Unbelievable situation. Never seen anything like it.
Tick, tick, boom. You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go Tick, tick, boom.
Boom. What's up, turtle people? How's everyone out there doing tonight? Good, good, excellent. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aidan Kearney. You can call me a variety of names if you like, starting with Clarence Woods Emerson. That's my Facebook account name. Go follow me on there. I do a bus stop live thing every morning in case I get jacked up by the popo. You can also follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Dr. Turtleboy because I am indeed a doctor, and that's my preferred pronoun. You can call me that. Old school turtle riders are known to call me Uncle Turtleboy or Unc, whatever you want to call me. Also acceptable, still acceptable to this day, but not mandated, is Daddy. I will allow that. I understand there's some people that, it can be weird for some people, but, some people kind of like it. So, you can call me 𝗃𝗃𝗃 Kearney too, if you'd like. You can call me Journalism Jesus. I don't care what you call me. Just be here every Tuesday and Saturday night at 9 p.m. sharp. And, bring a positive attitude with you and make sure you smash that subscribe button and you'll have a great time here. All right. So, yeah, that's about that. So, anyway, welcome to the show, everyone. We got a lot to get through tonight. And I mean, just Jesus Christ, what a busy day. Dude, I was covered in motions and lemonade by the end of the day. There was lemonade everywhere, wasn't there, folks? There was a whole bunch of it. Oh, my goodness gracious. So we got a bunch of that stuff. We got like I want to read this Atlantic article. I want to start with that. We got a whole bunch of shit. What else do we got? We got a whole bunch of shit we got to get through. I'm working on this other story about the juror tampering, as you guys might have seen on Twitter today. Ron Hathaway, my dude. What's up, man? What's happening? Why'd your wife take her Facebook page down? I didn't even message her. And your wife has taken her Facebook page down. But don't worry. It was too late. We got it all. You think I'm going to do something like that without screenshotting everything first, my dude? How was that wedding in 2019, by the way? Who was there? I know who was there. You know who was there too, don't you? Because we got all the pictures. All of them. There's your daughter's wedding, right? Yeah, we got all those. So, I wonder how you're tied to the juror tampering story. I guess we're going to find out. Because I think you, my friend, because you made your Twitter account private there. I asked you 1 second. I asked, what was his name on Twitter? Razzle Dazzle. What was his name? He had a really big mouth there for a while. Razzle Dazzle did. Hold on. I got to see what this guy's name. He went by, what was his name? Yeah, this guy. This dude. I tried to send this guy a message, Razzle Dazzle, on Twitter. And, because he had a really big mouth. He had a lot to say. Mostly the same shit over and over again. And he just got really active. He deleted a lot of tweets in the past, too, I noticed, from the Kearney trial. A lot of them are gone. He said a lot of controversial stuff. And because everybody's real badass when they're, not controversial. But the problem with Ronnie here is that he's using like a 12-year-old Twitter account. And like back in the day, like 10 years ago, he posted pictures of himself. Now, Ron knows here. He knows that this picture right here is cropped, isn't it, Ron? Isn't it? And I cropped it out for a reason. But and I know who's on the other half of this picture, don't you? Don't you? I think you do. And I think that's the connection. I think that's the connect. I think Ronnie, you and I know what we're talking about, don't we? You and me. Yeah. The only thing I haven't figured out is the connection to Fanning. That's it. But I think I'm onto that one too. I don't know if you know Fanning. I don't think you might know Fanning, but you definitely know people that know Fanning. Let's just put it that way. So I think I figured this one out, my dude. The jury tampering. I think I know what you and your friends did. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up. You guys fucked with the judicial process. You did. You know what you did. You and your boys there. You had a really big mouth, Ron. You and what's your wife's name? Kelly, right? Her name's Kelly, I think. Kelly. Hathaway, was that her name? I forget. I got all the screenshots. I'll have to go look back. Megan's wedding. We all know who was at Megan's wedding, don't we? We all know in 2019. Of course we do. Of course we do. Everyone's gonna find out who was at that wedding. That was like the Godfather type wedding that you had there. It was oh boy, the pictures we got off of that one, my dude. So I think we figured out the jury tampering situation here, and Ronnie here's got a lot to do with it. I think I don't know if he had a lot to do with it necessarily, but he's a connection. He's a major connection to this whole thing. And conveniently, all I did to him today, I just responded to one of them. He deletes his post as soon as I go, what is your, I didn't know who he was at first, but I'm like, I knew that this account, this Razzle Dazzle account was tied to the jury tampering. And so, you know, I didn't know who it was though. I didn't know who this guy was. So I went back on his timeline and I found this picture on his Twitter. He just didn't delete it. He had it, still had it up. So he's trying to be anonymous, but he's got pictures of himself from like 12 years ago on the account. So I didn't know who he was. So I just tweet this out and I'm like, what's your name, sir? I sent you a DM. I'm working on a story about a family member of yours. I think you know who I'm talking about. And he does. And, you know, I said he's made his whole account private after this. Looks like I'm onto something. Someone tell him it's too late. I screenshotted everything. Just wanted a name. Okay. And then I asked for a name. I go, does anyone know this guy's name? And obviously you can stop sending me the Ron Hathaway tips. I know it's him. Okay. I got it all. I got it all. It's too late, Ron. We all know what you did. We all know what you did. That's fucked up, man. Jury tampering. They always said I was going to be the one that jury tampered. What did you do, Ron? We're going to have a story coming on that soon. Your connection, you know who the guy is. You know who he is, Ron. I think you know. So we'll get to that one later on. It's taking me a little bit to push that. You know how I do with my stories. I like to piece it all together. I like to get it right. I don't like to rush. I'm not sure if Ron did anything illegal. I don't, but it's just it's a sensitive issue. And you know why, Ron. You know why it's a sensitive issue too, don't you? You Dedham people, man. Oh. Anyway, so let's get back to so anyway, if you guys want to have your messages read out loud to the class, no, not Bowtie Ron. He's fine. No, Ron didn't fuck with Ronnie the Juror. Although Ronnie the Juror was mentioned in a motion in limine today. In my interview with him was also cited, in case anybody thinks that I'm not like, an award-winning journalist here. Like I'm breaking stories and I'm in the motions and lemonade. So I'm good. All right. So anyway, if you guys want to have your messages read out loud to the class tonight, you can click at the link at the top for something called Turtle Chat. And when you do that, you can pay, not donate. You're paying because you're paying for a service. This isn't a charity. So you pay for a service and you get to pay whatever amount of money you want. As long as it's $5 or more. We're not doing the dollar thing. Okay. Because no offense, it's like you get to stop the show. You shouldn't be able to stop the show. It's like a commercial. You know what I mean? You can't have your commercial on here for $1. Okay. $5. Or you can give me whatever you want to give me. I don't care. If you write the message with it, I'm going to read that message out loud to the class. Okay. So that's how that works. So if you want to cash at me, the cash app is $Uncle Turtleboy, and you can do it that way. Okay. Let me start with the turtle chat. See what we got here. Lally's hair gel pays $50, sends $50 and says, I'm running faster than Lally's hairline. Yeah. It is a lot of gel. I mean, his pillow in the morning just must be filled with like those white flakes that I had in 7th grade on my pillow. Not those white flakes, the other white flakes from the cheap LA hair gel that he had. So, okay, cool. Next up, we have Peter sends $25 and says, "G'day, Dr. Turtle, mate. Strong. You are doing an awesome job. When Brian Albert eventually gets convicted and sent to jail, don't hold your breath. Being a former cop will be segregated, locked up with the sex offenders to keep him safe, or will they lock him up with the general public? therefore require a soap on a rope when showering. Cheers to Aru. I've long predicted this. If and when Brian Albert is ever in a situation where he's going to be arrested, he is going to take his own life. That is, I will guarantee you that would happen. But, I think the odds of Brian Albert being arrested are slim, to be perfectly honest with you, simply because they covered up a murder and the evidence is all gone. So how are you going to convict him? How are you going to convict him? What are you going to get him on? So, I think the odds are slim. I think he's going to get away with murder. That's just my guess. 𝗺𝗲𝗄𝗃 Hogan sends $11 and goes, the Sullivan sluts are skanky, spotlight chasing cum trumpets. Higgins is such a fat fuck. He hasn't seen his chode of a cock since Vietnam. Proctor is a chrome domed bacon sweating fuck nugget. I can't wait for Tyrone to get a hold of Proctor in the prison shower and shove his guts up his throat. Again, this is not me. This is to be clear, I don't want to witness intimidate anyone. This is a paid advertisement from one of our sponsors here, 𝗺𝗲𝗄𝗃 Hogan. And he goes on to say, Spanky has shown he will suck on anything for a conviction, including all of the Stadies and Canton police. He's a sleazy, jizz-gargling briefcase goblin. Kate is a blubbery, kid-losing grease whale. Bev is such a disgusting, corrupt cum dumpster. She deserves to be skull-fucked. Jen is a snaggletooth bitch that has a special place in hell. Tully, Bukaki, Lank, Paul, Garino, Crawford, Rafferty, Farwell, and the others that conspired against Karen are, can I say faggot? It's a faggot fucks. I guess we could say that deserve to be lined up against the wall. And see, this is pushing it. You know what I mean? Lined up against the wall and, for treason. I can't say that. It's a little too graphic, even though you paid me, but they swore an oath. No one talks about that. Very truly yours, 𝗵𝗃. So thank you, 𝗵𝗃, for that. Again, the opinions of 𝗺𝗵𝗃 are not necessarily the opinions of your host tonight, but he is free to have those opinions and say them simply because he paid $11. So there you go. Thank you. All right. Michael Brown sends $25 and goes, colons, colons everywhere. The bad thing about colons, everyone has them, but they can be smelly, messy, and shitty like colon Alberts. The good thing about colons, everybody has one, but typically they are not murderous pieces of shit like colon Albert. Again, not my words. These are paid advertisements from our sponsors. Everybody has one, but yeah, free Karen Reed, free Dr. Turtleboy, free my own colon, jail that pussy cocksucker motherfucker, wannabe fake gangster, real true dumbass, envious of unks, real big dick energy loser, pastel wearing crybaby, the pizza man's pizza boy for life, colon Albert. Okay, thank you. Auntie Bev's grave concerns about Julie Nagel's meals of food sends $5 and said, while he's at it, can Judd the Chud construct a scientific reenactment of how exactly Colin Albert slipped on ice and got bloody knuckles? I wonder if he'll say that again. I wonder. Seriously, bro? Seriously? Okay. Next. Yeah, the turtle chats are on fire today. Yeah. Let me refresh that. Next up, we have Melissa sends $20 and goes, I love the Betero letters regarding Chris Albert. Free Turtleboy. Yeah. How awesome. It's just so good. The trolls are melting down over that. It's undeniable wiretapping. The more we looked into that, just the mass general laws, like undeniable. The question is, what will be done about it? Will the Canton police actually enforce the laws in their town? Or because it's not just me. Forget about me. I know like that they want to be like, well, Turtleboy does this. Okay, forget about me. What about all the other people that Chris Albert's listening to on a daily basis as he sits at home and listens to their private conversations on a sidewalk that he has no right to listen to? None. And some of these idiots that think they know the law, they're like, there's no expectation of privacy in public. Of course there is with wiretapping laws. If you're standing in the middle of Central Park next to another person and you're having a conversation with them and they tape you illegally, well, I guess that's New York. So the Boston Common, okay, you're standing in the middle of the Boston Common with another person feeding the ducks, and that person tapes you, right? Without telling you, they have committed felony wire tapping, even though you're in public, right? And they say, well, it's you. What about you did it, turtle fucker? You were walking around and putting cameras in people's faces. Exactly. I was putting a camera in your face, and there's plenty of case law with this, making it very clear I am video recording you right now. That's why if I had put it in my pocket, it'd be one thing. I'm holding it up and letting you know I am doing that. So like that in and of itself is me letting you know I'm recording you, right? When you see a camera in a business, right? The assumption is it's not audio recording you. They have to let you know that. They can't just record you without telling you. And even if they could, right? Even if the statute said, well, if you're looking at the camera, it doesn't matter. Then it doesn't apply to you. That camera was not the one that picked up the audio. The one I didn't see was the one that was up in the corner that I didn't know the existence of. That the one that's outside that picked up, whatchamacallit, that picked it up. Yeah. So there you go. And it's I'll be honest with you. Massachusetts is when it comes to the wiretapping statute, I don't even agree with the statute. I don't believe in like 39 of the 50 states are one-party consent states for a reason. So I don't even necessarily agree with the law, right? But the law is the law, and it's about time the law started being equally applied around here, right? Equally applied. So I we'll hold our breath that Helena Rafferty is going to get back to us. But if you think it's just going to stop there, you're sadly mistaken. Everything we do is by design. Every letter we write, every action we take, it's by design. And this is not, you'll see. Just wait. Okay. Next up. And there was another video too. You guys want to see the other video? I mean, it's all in Discovery, so it's all coming out. It's just literal grab ass. And like the other video, we're doing like the gangsta thing. Like, what up? Thank God I didn't say, I don't say the N-word, but sometimes if I get really, I have a few drinks, I'll be like, start saying trigger. Like, yo, trigger, what? I do that thing because it's not racist if you say trigger. You know what I mean? So I just say, yo, trigger, what? And I don't know if I said, thank God that didn't come up on the audio because I might have said trigger what. I thought I said trigger what a few times, but I could be wrong. Let me see if I have it here. Do I have it? All right, let's see. I don't even know when this one was taken. But when you see this, it's just goofing around. Like there's obviously no witness intimidation here. It's fucking ridiculous. All right. So here we go. I don't know if you guys can hear the audio on this. I'm going to have to unplug that. Change the input. Because I mean, you decide. You tell me if this is witness intimidation. I don't know. I don't think it is.
Man.
Selfie. Okay, doing a little selfie there.
We're gonna get this.
It's a little grab assing, I think this is a what up, yeah. I had no idea I'm being audio recorded. I'm not looking at any camera there, right? I don't know if this is what he first notices it. There's no like I guess that's witness intent. I don't know. I don't see it. I'd be embarrassed. Personally, I'd be embarrassed to say that I was intimidated by that. That's not, I think, what most people picture, when they think of witness intimidation is, some slightly buzzed grab-assing, if you will. That's all I saw there is just grab-assing. I don't know. Do you guys, was that witness intimidation? Did I miss? Imagine saying you're intimidated by that, like how emasculating that is. Like that, what you just witnessed. Like 𝗺cie𝗶𝗄𝗺 went to the police with a straight face and said that he was intimidated by that. I don't know. I don't see it. Called me old fashioned, but when I think of like witness intimidation, I think of somebody, making it clear to you, telling you like, you better fucking not talk. You better not testify. You better not say, you better say this. You better say the right thing or else I'm gonna break your kneecaps. I'm going to burn your whole fucking house down. There could be a problem if you don't. That's what I think of when I think of witness intimidation. I don't think of two guys out in front of on a public sidewalk being like, yo, what up, motherfuckers? Yo, motherfuckers. Like what that's it. That's it. That's all we had, Okay. So anyway, next up. Thomas Autonomous Anonymous sends $5 and says, Tully and fake victim tried to get fake wiretapping and now ignores real wiretapping by 𝗺cie. How is he even involved? I thought he was rehomed. I guess not. I guess he's like grandfathered into my case because he's obsessed with me. But yeah, I mean, that's 𝗺cie𝗶𝗄𝗺's personal cop is Brian Tully. And that dude just got a fucking hard on the second he's like, whoa, we can get him on more witness intimidation. Let's apply for a warrant and have him arrested like right away. Like, and then it just didn't, they got the charge, but I don't think that's, I don't know, something tells me based on that video, I don't think that's going to stick in court. And if they send me to jail over that video, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Like they really are going to try to say I'm dangerous because of that. Give me a break. Give me a break. All right. Next up. Kelly sends $10, goes, Aidan, you've taught me more than you realize. It's because of you I'm no longer letting others walk all over me. Well, glad to hear, Kelly. It's because of you I've learned to stand up for myself and what I believe in. I thank you for that, and I know many others feel the same way. Well, gee whiz, Kelly, that was awful sweet of you. I appreciate that very much. So, yeah, I'm glad that, good. You should stand up for yourself because you only live once, and you can't let people walk all over you. You know what I mean? So thank you very much. Next up, for Turtle Chats, we have Tracy sends $10 and goes, it would be great if the defense put it to the jury to relate what they are going to see and hear in the trial to the crime shows they've seen on TV, where an investigation as bad as this would be the end of the show. I know. It's like, didn't any of these jurors in the last trial ever watch a TV show? Like, bro, this is not how investigations work, right? You know that. And like that, there's a reason investigations are done by the book in a certain way. It's so they don't get, so it leads to a conviction. If you're giving them, if you're voting to convict, you're rewarding them for something that they didn't do. And that's, prove the case. And yes, we had our raffle tonight for the signed Dr. Turtleboy poster. And I'm told that, I think that's you, Mary B. I'm told Mary B is the winner. Just want to make sure I got that right. Hold on. Yes, I'm told Mary. I think it's you. So yeah, message whoever you message to, and we'll get that to you right away. We'll figure it out. So congratulations if that's really you. So thank you very much. Next up, where'd it go? Yeah, and so I really think they should just. Do I think it's like this whole case? It's not what I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's not what they did do. It's what they didn't do. They didn't. They have to know it's unusual not to speak to any of these witnesses who were inside the house and allegedly heard a murder take place. Like none of these people heard it, and you didn't just speak to them for 18 months. Give me a break. I mean, that in and of itself is just like, but you left the crime scene unattended all day. I had a tweet today, right? I had a couple tweets. I was on a tweet and storm today. And I'd like to point this out, right? A couple things, couple thoughts, turtle thoughts here. Right there. Okay. You know, first thing. All right. So the O'Keefe family and others who believe Karen Read should be the most, who believe Karen Read is guilty, I should have said. Oops. Should be the most critical of the investigation into John O'Keefe's death. They left the crime scene completely unattended from 7 a.m. to 4:50 p.m. If Karen Read actually killed John O'Keefe and left 47 pieces of red taillight behind, what was stopping her from sending a friend or family member back to 34 Fairview Road to clean up all the evidence? She just knew that all this damning evidence was at the unattended crime scene. I mean, and just let it sit there. Like, that's wild. It's just like, what if Karen Read was actually guilty and she's just like, fuck, I left all that taillight behind. Fuck. They're going to nail me on all that taillight. That's going to be a dead giveaway when they find all that. Like, and she just left it there. And then, like, thank her lucky stars, the police, for once, didn't kind of cordon off and put some crime scene tape around a murder scene, which they always do. But they didn't this time. Good Lord, she hit the jackpot. Go back and pick up some of that taillight, and then they got nothing on you, right? They got nothing. I would just go and sprinkle it in John O'Keefe's driveway, right? Make it seem like it happened there. Go sprinkle it over there. Nope, she didn't do that. Didn't do that. Instead, she decided to put herself in the mental ward of the hospital. That's what she's like in. No, remember Phelps, he said the dad actually orchestrated that, because that's another thing that makes no sense about this. That brings me to my second tweet here. If Karen Read was trying to cover up a murder, wouldn't she want to be exactly where Jen McCabe was all day? In close proximity to investigators in John's family. Wouldn't the last place she would want to be was the mental ward at a hospital? Wouldn't the dastardly Karen Read want to get in Peggy and Paul O'Keefe's ear and convince them that Jennifer McCabe was being shady after she invited John O'Keefe to Brian Albert's house? Wouldn't she want to tell them, as part of her dastardly plan to frame the McAlberts, that she saw John go inside the house? Because that's what they're alleging Karen did, right? She's blaming the McAlberts. She's framing them. They're the victims here, right? Oh, the McAlberts are. Okay. So then Karen was the only one that wouldn't be surprised by seeing John's body there, right? That Karen's the only one that knew John was there, according to them. The others, I mean, Jen didn't seem surprised at all, but I guess shock and horror does things to you. You know, it's her good friend, the man lying in the snow, is there, and she was in shock and horror. So they see, like, so she knew. It just makes the more you think about this, the crazier it seems. Like, you would want to do what Jen McCabe did. You'd want to be like if she killed John O'Keefe, first thing she's like, fuck. Oh, fuck. Okay. I'm going to blame it on them. Okay, cool. Well, first thing I'm going to want to do when I get back there, when we find the body, right, is, or whoever finds the body, I'm going to be like, what the fuck? I saw him go in the house. That'd be like the first thing you said. Like, how the fuck did he get out here? I saw him go in the house. That's the first thing she'd say, is I saw her go in there. Like, she would be fucking voicing that loudly if she was covering this up. Loudly as possible. I saw that motherfucker go in the house. Her whole life, her freedom, involves telling the police that John went in the house. That'd be the first fucking thing she did, is tell him, send him into he went in the fucking house. Then immediately cast suspicion on the people inside the house. Immediately. And as luck would have it, John looks a lot more like a guy that got the shit kicked out of him than a guy who got run over by a car. What luck? What luck Karen Read had. What luck that the guy she just ran over has injuries that are inconsistent with an automobile collision, right? What fucking luck. But nope, she likes a challenge. So then she decided that, what would be a good idea now, okay, is to get in Peg. Now you got to convince the O'Keefes that Jen McCabe's the bad guy and Brian Albert's the bad guy. So wouldn't you want to get close to them that day and just insist that, but I saw him go in the house. He said he wanted to party. He was drunk and they were acting weird to him at the bar. They were saying some shit to him. They were acting like she would be doing all the shit Jen McCabe said. Jen McCabe with their whole like, oh, she was saying, I hit him and acting crazy. That's exactly what Karen would be saying about them if she actually did it. If she was trying to frame the McAlberts, she would be trying to make them sound shady. Be like, oh, we were at the bar and boy, that Higgins, he was sure out of control. He was sure mad that he didn't get any coochie. And man. And Brian Albert was looking at him weird. And it's funny, John had been telling me like all week that like he was even telling me like he's a little afraid to go over there because he doesn't think Brian Albert likes him. She would be making up all types of shit like that. Of course she would. And she would be telling Peggy and Paul O'Keefe, she would just be doing exactly to Peggy and Paul O'Keefe what Jennifer McCabe did to Peggy and Paul O'Keefe. That is exactly what she would do. If she actually killed John O'Keefe and intended on blaming someone else, that is exactly what she would do. But she didn't do that. No. And third point here, right? The Commonwealth alleges that Karen Reed backed up into John's Traverse at 5:07 on that ring camera video on purpose because her taillight was already broken, they said. And so she backs up into his car to make it look like the taillight was cracked that way, right? This is what Carl and other geniuses have said. And, it was the dastardly Karen Reed had this huge plan to make it look that way. Okay. Well, if that's the case, and her taillight is literally blasted to smithereens into 47 fucking pieces. 47 pieces. Can you believe 47 pieces? It just fucking exploded. That's backing into John Chevy Traverse ain't going to cause it to break into 47 pieces. What did you just smash the fuck out of his car? Like and it makes sense. You're in a rush, right? You're panicking. You're going out looking for him. She would go at that thing 24 miles an hour in 62 feet. That's what she would do. Isn't that what you would fucking do if you were trying to make it look that way? If the taillight was already broken, you would just smash the fuck into her car, right? That's what I would do. And then I would just be like, fuck it, I'm out of here. We're driving away. We'll figure that out later. We got to go find John. Oh my God. It's just so stupid. The more you think about this shit, you're like, oh my God. And so the Karen Reed documentary comes out this week too. And so this chick, Terry, is the one who did the documentary. Okay. And when I was in jail, I guess is when, Karen Reed's people did this documentary with this woman, and huge mistake, I think, on their part. Huge mistake. I think they just wanted to have the first trial covered, some behind the scenes shit, but huge mistake in my opinion. Because I think they got screwed over. This woman, Terry, who does Unsolved Mysteries, she got there and her people asked me right away, can we interview you? And so she messaged me. I still have the texts. She wanted to interview me and she wanted me to talk and blah, 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 blah. Okay. And I told her no, because I was under contract with the Wahlberg people at the time. And I said, no, I have an exclusivity agreement. I can't do that. And so we ended up, not because like you can't, if you're one documentary and you're not going to be featured in the whatever. Okay. So anyway, back to this. What was I going to say? I forgot. So I still liked Terry. Okay. And she was I think the documentary was going to be very pro Karen. And then one day outside of court, I go, anybody know? I was talking to her. I'm like, any idea how many witnesses they're calling? No, I think I talked to her on the phone. And I said, any idea how many witnesses they got left? And she's like, 3. I remember she's like 3 witnesses left. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I was going to ask Karen's people on the way out of court, I think the second to last day of trial, I was going to ask them, who were the 3 witnesses that you have left that you intend on calling? And then she comes up to me and she goes, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. Because she has like access to them. And, you know, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. You can't ask them about that. I can't ask them about that. I'm a grown ass man. You told me information. I can ask whatever question I want to ask, but I phrased it. I ended up doing her and she got so pissy about it. She's like, you can't do me that favor. Why would I do you a favor? Who are you? What favor do I owe you? And you told me something. I'm a reporter. I can't pretend like I didn't hear that. Like you told me that. And like you fucked up. You told me something you weren't supposed to tell me. Oh, fucking well. Like they'll get over it. And so I even protected her because she didn't want to be seen as somebody who was leaking sensitive information. She didn't think the defense would like that. And so I phrased it when I asked him a question. I asked David United, how many witnesses do you have left? And he goes, 3. Okay, good, perfect. So he answered my question. So I didn't have to pretend like I knew that. So I asked a question I already knew the answer to in the hopes that he would answer it on camera, and he did. And so we were good. And I told Terry that, and she didn't appreciate it. It's like, bitch, I went out of my way to fucking protect you, and you don't even appreciate that. So she's real salty that I wouldn't do her stupid documentary, right? Because first of all, like obviously compensating nothing, right? I ain't doing that shit. Fuck that. No, like that's the Karen Reed documentary. I'm going to have my own, you know? So, then I read this interview in Hollywood Reporter. All right. And this bitch lies. Look at her. So they asked her about this. So somebody says, returning to social media, we assume ID docuseries have to follow certain journalistic tenets, be factual, show both sides, but online early on, we're introduced to Turtleboy, who grandstands on social media and says whatever he wants with no accountability. Bitch, I got like 18 charges. What are you talking about? No accountability. And then this is her answer. This is Terry. We didn't do an interview with Turtleboy. We wanted to include him because he is part of the story. But there's a side part of the story. No, bitch, there's no side part. I'm not in it because I turned you down, Terry. Why are you lying? This is a lie. I got the text to prove this. I turned your people down. I would not do an interview with them. Okay. And I said no to you, and you're acting like, well, we didn't really want him, actually. Why? Because he's facing 16 counts of witness intimidation. Bitch, you knew that when you reached out to me. Like, what are you talking about? First of all, that's what makes it interesting. He has his own case going. He's being prosecuted, which tells you he has... What the fuck did I just do? He's being prosecuted. What the fuck, bro? Why does it do that? Hold on, I gotta find it. What the fuck? Why does it do that? Like, doesn't let you hide. I've never seen this before. I try to go like, okay. All right. I guess I just want to highlight it. He's being prosecuted, which tells you he has crossed the line to have these charges leveled against him. Bitch, fuck you. What you talking about? This is why I didn't do a fucking interview with you, because I know a snake when I see one. Terry, Unsolved Mysteries. What is this, 1996? What else? What else is that? America's Most Wanted? Is that coming up next? Unsolved Mysteries? Seriously, Terry? That's your claim to fame? Give me a fuck. And by the way, your whole documentary, it looks cheap. Your whole thing looks cheap. You had unlimited access to the main character, and your documentary still looks like it sucks. Okay? So she tells me that I've crossed the line to having these charges leveled against him. No, bitch. I criticized the same people who arrested me. That's what happened. No lines were crossed. But he's an independent journalist, and he isn't held to the same standards as all the other reporters we included in this series. Like she was going to include me, but she didn't. Bitch, I turned you down. I rejected your ass. You're like the fat bitch who's like telling me, oh no, I turned him down. You didn't turn me down. I didn't want to be on your stupid documentary. Okay? He can say and do whatever he wants. It's the collateral damage. This is a very personal that he's done in terms of the lives of these witnesses who are just witnesses, not the murderers. As Jennifer McCabe says on the stand, I'm just a witness. It's really concerning and disturbing. Bitch, you asked me to be on. When you look at the Wild West that is social media and influencer culture, there's no accountability. And that's why we do these projects. The way we do them with the depth, the multi-part exploration so that we can give space to commentary on just that. I think the word accountability, first of all, there will be more people who will watch this fucking episode of the Turtle Boy live show than will watch your crappy documentary on ID. You couldn't even get it on Netflix. You're a joke. There's no accountability. That's frightening. They're using a great phrase because what is going on? Oh, yeah, right. Right. Oh, what else did she say? Turtle Boy is getting a lot of clicks and he's making a lot of money off this situation. Bitch, how much are you making off this? Trial number 1 and now heading into trial number 2. There's financial and exposure gain for him. And Turtle Boy isn't the only one. A lot of the bloggers are hopping on as it's about money and clicks, but Turtle Boy is tapping into something. All these people are following him. He's almost like a cult leader. He tapping into something, a cult leader. Like, no, or perhaps all these people are following me because I'm saying something right. And by the way, this person, ban them. We don't do that around here. We don't say move on. We don't say let's talk about something else. This is called Dr. Turtleboy's fucking show. You will sit there and you will swallow whatever the fuck I feed you. Your input on what I talk about or what I should stop talking about is not at all welcomed. Okay? Get the fuck out. Ban them. Done. I have no tolerance for that. Nobody comes on here and tells me what to talk about or what not to talk about on my show. Okay? You don't have to be here. This is not a cult. You don't have to be here. Everyone else likes it. All right. And everybody else agrees that Karen Reed is innocent. I'm not because I'm telling them, because that's what the facts show. Period. All right. Next. So let me keep reading. I look at this bitch. There's financial, and it says the woman how much money have you made off of this, Terry? By the way, you paid Karen $0 for this. Karen got bamboozled. I'm sorry. She got fucking bamboozled on this one. First of all, she got locked into the exclusivity, so she couldn't do a documentary where she actually gets paid. They're not supposed to pay people for these documentaries, but they pay people. Okay. And if Karen's doing this, she should have been paid. And she wasn't. So then she says there's financial and exposure gain for him. And Turtle Boy, but Turtle Boy's he's like a cult leader. He's tapping into something specifically in the Karen Reed case, this idea that the system is corrupt and we're not going to take it anymore. I know. Crazy idea. And I guess she told them afterwards she was mad that it ended in a hung jury. And like that's when she turned on Karen. Karen's team is not talking to her anymore. So she's basically a pissed off woman. And I think the documentary is going to be shit, but that's just me. I think everyone on the defense team was surprised they didn't get an acquittal. I think they thought when the jury went out to deliberate, they were going to come back in a couple hours, that another day goes by. You could see them start to get pretty nervous and to start considering the idea that this might be a mistrial. What it did in terms of our focus on the project, the prosecution, the DA's office immediately announced they were going to retry the case. And we'd always wanted to make a balanced presentation of both sides, the prosecution and the defense. but I think it became even more important because this project is going to air before the second trial begins. And we don't want to feel like we've been swayed in one direction or another. Yeah, she says that afterwards. I don't know how they're going to find a jury that hasn't heard about this case. We get as many viewers as we hope we will, says the woman who is accusing somebody else of doing this for clicks. Oh my God. What a cunt. Huh? Anyway, so we'll read more about that later, but I think it's going to be a hit piece. That's just me. All right, next up for Turtle Chats, we got here. Mime Queen sends $5 and goes, did the murderer record federal agents in town? Did they record jurors, witnesses, others? I don't know. That's a good question, Mime Queen. Melissa sends $20 and goes, love the better letter. Free Turtle Boy. Excellent. I already read that one, I think. Let me see if there's any more Turtle Chats. Paul's Personal Pony sends $5 and goes, Daddy, you are loved and appreciated. Enough is enough. A standout needs to be held in West Bridgewater. No more worrying about Paul's feelings. His focus is popping pussy. Not justice for his brother. I have no interest whatsoever in protesting Paul O'Keefe. He's just a sad, pathetic individual using this trial to get laid. That's all he is. Emily sends $10 and goes, of course, Chris Albert would be the only person on this earth that would try to get you back in jail. And then it completely blew back at him and led to criminal actions being exposed. What an own goal by Chrissy. I know. Tell me about it. Kelly sends $25, goes, if Canton does not press charges against Chris Albert, will you bounce it to the federal level since it also violates the Federal Wiretap Act? I don't think there's a Federal Wiretap Act. Federal wiretapping is not against any federal laws to my knowledge. Colin 𝗵𝗄𝗃 sends $10, goes, you upset Chris Albert's colon. Okay. Mary Ellen sends $10 and goes, isn't wiretapping a federal offense? I don't think it is. Free Turtle Boy and free Karen Reed. Thank you. Nora sends $10 and goes, hello from another lawyer new to the proper legal shitstorm that is Norfolk County, former white collar crimes prosecutor. So all this corruption has me trying to follow the money. Question, is that Mike Gaffney guy on Twitter related to the Michael Gaffney that's a Norfolk County 88? No, Mike Gaffney is just, I don't even know where to start with that. If you just Google Michael Gaffney Turtle Boy, you will see our history. You can read about it. He is a guy who I used to ally myself with. He ran for mayor of Worcester. I kind of built his political career up, which he admits readily. He was a city councilor who was like finished in 6th the first time he ran, barely made it on. And then I got behind him in 2015 because we have the same politics, and he got 2nd and he almost got elected mayor in a city that Republicans don't get elected mayors in, in Worcester. But then he went off the deep end and went fucking insane. And then in 2017, I didn't endorse him and he got dead last place. And then he moved away and he sued me and he lost. He said that I made him sad, that because I didn't endorse him, he lost, and that's my fault. And ever since then, since he lost that lawsuit miserably, he has been just obsessing with me ever since. I mean, you don't really see me talking about him much on social media, obviously, but he talks about me, I assume, on a daily basis, I'm guessing. Little obsessed with me, little obsessed. Like when the intimate videos of me came out one time, that dude watched those videos. He did a whole play-by-play of it. Like, ooh, here he is this time. Here he is this. Look at this handle that he's got. Look at his grip. It's weak. I think he made. It's like, I'm like, okay, guy. It's if you send me a video of another man spanking it, okay, even if I hate that person, I'm just gonna take your word for it that it's pathetic. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, I don't need to see that to know that's embarrassing. You know what I mean? But this dude watched it. He watched it over and over again, and he would like post clips of it. And the whole thing was unfortunate, but I'm like, dude, this guy is just, he cannot stop thinking about the Intimidator. Like, it's wild. Anyway, back to this. So that's Gaffney. And he is technically a lawyer, but I don't really think he gets any clients or anything. I don't know. He's just a weirdo. All right, Steph sends $50 and goes, so audio ring cameras, should stickers be up saying it's video and audio recording if we live in Mass? I would definitely do that. And we talked about this and we did some case law research on it. And Ring specifically tells you to do that if you live in a two-party consent state. Like, it's up to you. The burden is on you to let others know that they are being audio recorded. So, yeah. Okay, next up. Dorothy sends $5 with a YouTube link and says, you saw this video. Okay, thank you. Rock Hard sends $10, goes, was with my minor grandkids and sat on the bench in front of D&E, called CPD going to file a complaint for Chris wiretapping minors. Let you know what happens. Love you, Turtleboy. You should. You should. I mean, everyone in Canton who has ever walked by that place, if those videos, are those cameras still, you should be down at the police station filing a criminal complaint against Chris. Like, they should be flooded. The Canton Police Department should be flooded with complaints right now from people. Everyone in town should be complaining about that this guy is illegally wiretapping everyone who goes by. All right, next up. Kelly sends $10, goes, drinking party for every time Colin says, it's been so long, I don't remember. Also, maybe we can get a special song made for Clay, a nice tribute song or something. I know, maybe. The Goodmans send $5 and says, think of poor Nancy Kerrigan. Okay. Next up, do we have any more here before we get started? Bev's Grave Concern sends $10, goes, people giving you grief for making money on this story. That's nuts. I'd wagered you'd have to spend a ton of money on top of jail time. You've bled for this story. You should make all the money. That's the thing. It's like, first of all, like, I don't have costs. Like, I'm not running a business here. And like, it's not America. And I'm not doing this for money, bitch. I've been doing this for 10 fucking years, 11 years, making money by writing stories. Right? It's just what I do every day. I can't help it that this story blew up. That wasn't the plan. But people who have been following this story, like my friend Ernie always said, you are one story away from blowing the fuck up. Like, it's going, like, I don't know what that story is going to be, but it's going to happen someday. And you were that close to just making it, because I wouldn't have gotten noticed in the first place if I didn't already have a platform. I already had 25,000 followers on Twitter. I was on Timcast like 2 months before the Karen Reed story. Fucking Timcast. It's like one of the biggest YouTube shows out there. They flew me down there as a guest on there. Like, I had a pretty good following. I was a pretty well-known entity in Massachusetts prior to the Karen Reed story. Now I'm well-known across the country. So, I mean, it's changed. You know what I mean? So acting like I didn't already put my labor and blood, sweat, and tears into this and sacrifice, and like I don't got costs, like I don't got 6-figure legal bills, all this shit. Like, come on, you know? Anyway, yes, there he is. Arnie, he called that one. He always said that. So thank you, Arnie. Next up, Angela sends $5, goes, Doctor, what do you think will happen if another hung jury happens? Will they retry? Just drop the murder charge, or will the town be outraged from so much wasted tax dollars? Well, that will not happen. The outrage from taxpayers won't happen because there hasn't been outrage already. They don't care. It's not like people will see a tax increase because of that. They just don't care. I mean, and they're so used to government waste anyway, so living in Massachusetts, that we're just kind of immune to that around here. So I don't think that's going to happen. Will they retry it? That's a good question, and something I've pondered. Like, it's a horrible look if they go all trial 4 on this motherfucker. You know, I don't think they want to do that. But, you know, and like, what, Hankey's going to do this again? They're going to drop Hankey and bring someone else back? I mean, what's the plan for trial 3? Well, seriously. So, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, cool. Some cash apps here. Let me bang through a few of these. Let's see. Christine sends $10 and says, today was a war of the motions. Yes, it was. Going through the motions today, wasn't it? Daniel sends $10 and goes, anyway, it could be Clay's godfather. well, kind of morbid and depressing. You want to be a dead kid's grandfather? Go and knock yourself out. Thank you, Danny. Heather sends $10 and goes, it was the Asian guy with the gas candlestick. The gas candlestick. Okay. Thank you, Heather. Sharon sends $5 and goes, what's next for you after Karen is finally free? I don't fucking know. A vacation, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you, Sharon. Lauren sends $5 and goes, how did the murder weapon drive off? Come on. Exactly. Chad sends $5 and goes, big increase in YouTube coverage, Karen Reed trial. Yes, Chad. Thank you, sir. Margaret sends $10, goes, thanks for all you do. You're doing great. Well, thank you very much, Margaret. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Kim sends $50. Woo. Thanks, Kim. And says, free Karen Reed, free Turtleboy, T-Rex hands. Funny as fuck. Not intimidating. Not intimidating. So thank you very much for that. Okay, cool. If anyone else wants their messages read out loud to the class tonight, you can cash at me $1 Uncle Turtleboy or click the link at the top for Turtle Chat. Okay. All right. So what I want to start with tonight is I want to read this. You guys all read the article in the Atlantic about your boy. I don't even know if you guys knew I was doing that. Let me bang this out. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, Atlantic did a big story on me. You guys might have heard of the Atlantic before. It is a very large international publication. If you're a conservative, you probably don't like it very much. If you're a liberal, you probably do like it. But I don't really care what their political slant is. The Atlantic is a huge publication. And when they want to do when they contact you and they're like, we want to do a story on your coverage of the case, you do it, period. Right. And I don't care if it's a hit piece or not. I don't give a shit. I'm going to tell my truth. I'm going to tell my story. And like, let's face the facts. Like, I'm very charming. You know, I'm not that charming to like get a cult. I'm not cult charming, but I can, you know, like when you get to know me, you know that like, I'm actually not how they presented me. So this reporter named Chris Heath contacted me and he flew over here. Actually, I think he lives in New York, but he's British. And so he came up here and he's like, I'd like to follow you around and just really interview you. So we spent hours and hours and hours on this and, you know, just driving around, him asking me questions. You know, he's been in my house, watched me do a show. He's been to Southie with me. He's been out and about. He came for this meal of food at the Waterfall Bar and just hung out with turtle riders. And I thought the piece was very good. You know, some people were nervous about how it was going to turn out because of Gretchen Voss and stuff like that. But this guy is a real writer. I thought he did a really good job on this. Now, he did not come up with the name. I don't agree with the name. Okay. Or not the name, the little blurb at the top. So let's read it. It's behind a paywall. But he did send me the PDF of this. So, okay. Turtleboy will not be stopped. A profane blogger believes an innocent woman is being framed for murder. He'll do anything to prove he's right and terrorize anyone who says he's wrong. Like terror. That's a strong word. Terrorize. So when you see that, that's not the next 46 pages of this are not anything about terrorizing. Nothing. Like that's not what, and that's what, so Chris didn't write this blurb. The editors obviously did. And what the fuck, you know, like, but whatever. I'm not terrorizing anyone. He'll do anything to prove he's right. That is not what I would put for an opening. You know, I would put like, he's not everyone's cup of tea, you know, or some say he's taking things too far or, you know, something like that. But is he pushing the lines of what is journalism and what isn't, and witness intimidation, something like that. But this is just like he's terrorizing people. I mean, terrorism. That's what first thing is thinking of, terrorism. But anyway, let's read it. Oh, there's a nice, we did a photo shoot there. Okay. All right. On overpasses and by roadsides, they gather holding banners and placards. In the early days, only a few people showed up, congregating at chosen times, scattered locations around Boston, but their cause has grown and they swelled. Okay. There's 70 standouts. He's talking about the Labor Day standouts, right? All over Massachusetts and the country, all these different states, Ohio, Kansas. We had a Kansas one, Florida, California, and elsewhere. These assemblies are the most visible manifestation of what is usually referred to as the Free Karen Read movement. If in the fullness of time, it will seem strange that such unity and passion should have been mustered in the defense of a 45-year-old Massachusetts financial analyst accused of killing her police officer boyfriend. Well, not to these people gathered today. Young and old and nearly always dressed in something pink, they joyfully express their shared belief to passing motorists through slogans, most often just Free Karen Read, although sometimes they say things like liberty and justice for all, stop the corruption, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Butt dials galore, where's Chloe, etc. In most assessments, a large part of the credit for how this all came to be, according to both the haters and the detractors, the blame for it belongs to a man named Aidan Kearney. I met Aidan early May morning last year outside the Norfolk Superior Court. It was raining, registry of deeds. There was a buffer zone, okay, and everyone was wearing pink, okay. So there's some pictures, cool, nice. Kearney isn't one for small talk, and he was soon in full flow. I told Chris, I'm like, you know what? Like, you obviously there's some quotes in there where I'm pretty, profane. I don't disagree with that. But I feel like at the end of this, he captured me pretty well. I don't know what you guys think. Did you guys like this? I mean, did you guys, if you read the Atlanta, I'll do a poll on this right now. Now let's keep it real simple. Do you think the Atlantic story on me was good? Yes or no? Let's see what people say. Well, Chris is going to like this, I think, because we are up to how many votes we got? We got 100 something votes, 115 votes, and 84% are saying yes so far. So that's good. Okay, cool. All right, back to this. So, he isn't one for small talk. It's so obvious that she's innocent, he told me. The critics will say, oh, he's like a cult leader. He's brainwashing these people. I assure you, I am not that charming. These are educated people that are getting into the story because they're not stupid. And they look at all the facts of this case and they're like, it's undeniable. This is a cover up. He gestured toward the gradually swelling cohort in the distance. These people are out here every day, rain or shine. It doesn't matter. Exactly. Exactly. So this shows you that, like, I believe this shit. Like, for all the people always just doing this for clicks, it's like, no. I believe this shit. I'll never believe in anything as much as my whole entire life. A woman standing nearby interjected. Sorry, I'm not eavesdropping, but I'm eavesdropping, she said. So are you with Dan? And I said, I'm the leader. She's like, you're the leader? And he goes, yeah, I'm Turtleboy. I totally forgot about that. But, and the anti shared this article. They're like, oh, look at this. This is great. It's like, bitch, you understand this is the Atlantic, right? You understand how big this publication is? Like, me being I have a whole fucking profile on me. You understand how good that is for my career? No matter how good, complimentary or negative the article is, this is a win for me no matter what. Do they not understand this? Like, how good this is? Like, they're and I don't think any of them read past the opening blurb that calls me a terrorist. Because if they did, they would find out that it's actually not negative at all. On the morning, okay, so it goes into the case. And to Kearney, reading the news reports at the time, the story seemed clear enough. I remember I was like, yeah, that's sad for her and him because it was framed in the media as an accident, this horrible accident. He's from Worcester. He was a teacher for 11 years. He still rhapsodizes about how much he liked teaching lessons on World War II and the civil rights movement. Eventually, he would marry another teacher and have 2 children. But he also became a citizen blogger In the end, beginning mostly concentrating on Boston sports and matters from around Worcester at aidanfromworcester.com. He wasn't afraid to rub people the wrong way, specializing in calling out perceived hypocrisies and gleefully relishing any chance to cut against political correctness. As his audience and reputation grew, these two roles, teachers and internet provocateur, proved incompatible. In an attempt to make his blogging anonymous, he adopted the name Turtleboy, but when the secret didn't hold, his choice was made. He would be a full-time blogger. That's a really good and simple way of explaining how I became what I am today. I mean, that's very accurate, and he sums it up pretty well there. Okay. As Turtleboy, Kearney made enemies aplenty, but he also gathered a lot of followers who liked what he was saying and doing and the unfiltered way in which he did it. Before too long, he was making a healthy living via digital advertising, merchandise, donations, and subscriptions. So I was already making money before Karen Reed. When he first read about Reed and the death of O'Keefe, he sized up its possibilities as a story. Kearney is instinctively pro-police. I'm a back the blue guy, he says. And the death of a cop seemed like a subject with Turtleboy potential. Exactly. He captures me so well. But I didn't write about it because I'm like, well, I don't really have a strong opinion on this. It's like, what a tragedy. The guy gets killed. I couldn't imagine living with the guilt of accidentally running your boyfriend over and then not knowing it. And then I totally forgot about the story. And that is exactly what happened. When I first, again, if you've been following me for a while, whenever a cop gets killed, that's a big story. My readers want to hear about that because usually it's a scumbag. Usually it's like some guy with 125 charges, like the guy who killed Sean Gannon. They called him 125 because he had 125 priors and was still out on the streets. That's Yarmouth police officer Sean Gannon, killed in 2018, or Michael Chestnut, also killed in 2018 by a scumbag, or Ron Tarantino, killed in 2016, by a scumbag. It's always a big story for me when a cop gets killed. And it's like, people like it because I just usually rally around, traditionally people have liked my stories on those because I call out the bullshit. I'm like, this guy is a douchebag who is a career criminal. And it's these fucking judges that allow this animal to be out walking the streets. Okay. This guy should not be free. He should be like, and I shame the judges and I put the judge's name out there. That's why a lot of judges don't like me because I would do shit like that. Right. So I see John O'Keefe gets killed, the Boston cop. I'm like, well, that piques my interest. I look into it and I'm like, okay, this woman, Karen Reed, has been arrested for this. Okay. Let's look her up. I found her LinkedIn. She looks professional, all this shit. And I'm like, she seemed, was this framed as an accident? And I didn't know the details. I didn't read much about it. I'm like, I thought there was like a foot of snow when it happened. That's how it sounded. That this dude, like that she like backed out of the driveway. And like, the way I understood it when it first happened, it was like she dropped him off like in the driveway. And then like when she was backing out, like she clipped him or something. And like he hurt his foot or his leg. That's what I thought happened. And he just fucking fell. And then it just snowed on top of him. And then I thought he got buried in the snow. When I first read the story, that's what I didn't read into shit. I didn't read the court documents. I didn't care. Okay. So I was just like, with that, I did care. But like when I heard that it was an accident and that his girlfriend did it, it just had no appeal to me. The story had no appeal because I'm like, what the fuck am I going to say about this? What is people like when Michael Chestnut gets killed by Lopes, or when Sean Gannon gets killed by 125, or when Ron Tarantino's murdered by Jorge Zambrano, and every one of these motherfuckers has a million priors, and a liberal judge after liberal judge after liberal judge releases them into the community, and a liberal district attorney does not go down hard on them. That to me is like red meat for my people. Right. And I'm just like, fuck this judge, fuck this DA, fuck this guy. And I'm like, this guy should be jailed. What am I going to say about Karen Reed? The fuck am I going to? She has no priors. It appears to be a fucking accident. I'm sure she feels bad about it. It's tragic. That's what I assumed fucking happened. So I didn't look into it. That's why. And if I did, I probably would have realized this was bullshit from the start, but I just didn't even look into this story when it happened, and I forgot about it. I totally forgot about it. In the summer of 2022, when Kearney wasn't paying attention, that's why I like Chris. He has the timeline down perfect. The charges against Reed were upgraded from manslaughter to second-degree murder. Evidence had emerged suggesting that the couple's relationship had been fraught and that they'd been arguing. She was now accused of hitting him with an intent to kill. He didn't take notice until April 2023, when the defense filing laid out a detailed counter narrative. He did not take notice when this happened. And that's true. The counter narrative came out in 2012, and I didn't notice it. Arguing that Reed was being framed and that O'Keefe had actually been murdered by those in the house he was visiting. By that point, the story had more or less vanished from public consciousness. I couldn't find a single mainstream media mention of Reed and O'Keefe in the 6 months leading up to April 2023. That's interesting. Even these new defense assertions, generally only a smattering of stories in Massachusetts newspapers. That week, this is great. I love this. This is like, this dude did his fucking homework on this. I didn't even tell him about this. He goes, that week, the week of April 12th, when that filing came out about how long to die in cold, I didn't write about it till April 18th. So there's like 6 days in there. So I'm like, what the fuck was I doing there in those 6 days? That week, Kearney was preoccupied with what back then was fairly typical Turtleboy fare. He'd face down what he called an Antifa child drag queen mob he'd interposed himself with in a dispute involving parents who claimed that their child was facing racist abuse at a cheer gym. So there was two stories there. There was one story at Newton South, I think Newton South or North. I forget what it was. They were having drag queens come to school or some shit like that. I used to be real into this shit. This is like red meat for me. And like, to me, that's like, you got drag queens in the school, I'm going to write about it. It's like, that's because I hated that shit. I think it's fucking ridiculous. I thought I need to get called out. This obsession with drag queens and children. It's just fucking bizarre. And so, but they fought back hard. Antifa did, or whoever. And so I went to the belly of the beast. There was a big protest in Newton Center against, I don't know if it was for the drag queens, whatever it was. I showed up there armed with my camera, and I might have had a megaphone. I don't know. And I just went at it with these people. I just went into the heart of the fucking mob and just videotaped myself calling, why do you guys want children to see drag queens so bad? And, you know, all these Antifa chuds are trying to, I had a great time doing it. I love that shit. It just shows that the tactics I used with, you know, the Karen Reed shit, I've been doing it forever. Like, I was doing it the week before I wrote about Karen Reed, and like calling out this guy in Norwood. There was a cheer gym, and he claimed the gym was racist to his daughter. It turns out to be bullshit. He set up the latest installment of his annual Turtleboy Ratchet Madness competition, in which his followers would vote round by round to name the worst of the ratchets, hypocrites, spongers, and other miscreants his blog identified in the past year. And he had documented or intervened in sundry other disputes, while also describing how he had been swatted twice that week, with the police arriving at his home to follow up on bogus reports from Turtleboy haters that Kearney was suicidal. I forgot about that. Like that right before the Karen Reed thing happened, I got swatted twice in one day by the Holden police show, including at like 2 a.m. The Holden police showed up at my house, and somebody had called and said that I had, I had a gun in my mouth or some shit like that. Like, it was crazy. Ended up catching both people, by the way. So anyway, so that's what I was doing the week before Karen Reed. That's what Kearney's life was like. More than 2 years earlier, after some personal turbulence had prompted him to reassess his approach, he had announced a wish to change gears. I still love the ratchet stuff and always will, he said, but at the end of the day, I'm more interested in exposing people who actually matter rather than going the Jerry Springer route. I don't want my kids to grow up and think their father pays the bills by writing a vulgar, smut-filled blog. I feel like it's possible to make the same points I've always made while avoiding usage of jizz donkeys and spunk guzzlers. I used to use words like that a lot. Plus, my favorite stories are the ones that expose corrupt systems and power. He had gone on to write some stories in that genre, but so far the adjustment appeared to have been modest. Now another chance presented itself. He's just so good at writing. He just gets me. He just gets me, you know? And that is exactly like, I did say that stuff and I do feel that way. And I'm like, I do, as my kids are getting older, I do want to do something that makes them proud of what I do for work. I don't want to just talk. I don't want my legacy to be like, I shamed a bunch of crackheads and, you know, made fun of them. And then, you know, I mean, I think that it's important. The drag queen shit fighting, that's important. But like, you know, just your common crackhead miscreants. I mean, that's not what I want my legacy to be. You know what I mean? I love the real investigative journalism, but I didn't get in trouble with the crackheads. Like that's one thing that I miss about that. It's like, there was no witness intimidation with that. There was no, like, whenever I picked on the lowest dregs of society, you know, nothing was done. Like Kimberly Fair fucking hates me because I exposed her ass 4 years ago. And I didn't get charged with witness intimidation for that until it was the McAlberts. Right? Anyway, at lunchtime on April 17th, a retired police officer named Brian Johnson sent Kearney the following message on Facebook. And a lot of people don't know this. Hi, I'm not sure if you're following the case of Boston police officer John O'Keefe's death, but here is a recent motion. And he sends me Alan Jackson's affidavit. John was a great guy. He started his career in Duxbury. His sister passed away and he adopted his niece and nephew. My sources tell me that Brian Albert, a Boston police canine officer, close, is a loose cannon. His dog mysteriously disappeared and he sold his house. Looks like the girlfriend was set up. Something's not right. So this is a cop saying this, a retired cop, but a cop nonetheless, a guy who has always backed the blue. And again, that's my audience. Cops loved Turtleboy, and I think they still do for the most part, because I always had police's back, you know, and I still do for the most part. And so like the fact that a guy like this is like, yeah, fucking these shady cops did this. It's like, okay, I think we're onto something here, you know? And so I read it over. He's the first guy that sent this to me, and he sends the PDF. And Kearney says that his reaction to reading the defense filing was, holy shit, this is story of the century stuff. Early that evening, as he worked on an article about the Reed case for the Turtleboy blog, he posted on social media as a preview the first words he would write about it. I am currently working on perhaps the craziest story I've ever written, involving a Boston cop possibly being involved in murdering another cop, followed by an elaborate cover-up designed to frame the murdered cop's girlfriend. My jaw is currently on the floor. You guys remember that when I tweeted that out and posted that? And you know who messaged me that night? Jill Daniels and Chris Albert both messaged me because they were both fans of mine. And so they both messaged me and were like, I think you got this all wrong. No. You should talk to us. I didn't see their messages till later on. And I'm like, oh, really? You know, and a couple of McAlberts did. And they're like, you can't believe Megan Kennedy was one of the women that did it. And I'm like, oh, wow. There's, even after this comes out, there's still people that are okay with this and like want to associate with these scumbags. Like what, you know? So yeah, they both, like Chris is a fan. Remember his wife, Julie, sent a text message to John O'Keefe in 2021. John O'Keefe was also a turtle writer. John O'Keefe sent Julie Albert a link to a blog I published in 2021 about Canton. There's some, you guessed it. There was something about Black Lives Matter in the schools or something like that. And that was red meat for me. And I wrote about it. Some poor little girl getting picked on because she wouldn't like pledge allegiance to Black Lives Matter or something. And I wrote about it. And my audience loves that shit. Chris Alberts of the world love that shit. And Julie Albert loves it. And John O'Keefe sent that to his neighbor, Julie Albert, and said, I don't know what he said, but she wrote back in response to that, my biggest fear in life is being featured on Turtleboy. That's what she said in the text message. And that is fucking awesome. Anyway, so I retweet this and post it, and it builds a lot of, this is April 17th. You know, this was at like what, 2 a.m. I mean, no, this is at like 6 p.m. I probably posted that. And so a lot of people in the comments were like, oh, is this that cop story? Is this the one out of Canton? Like, people were intrigued, and like I knew there was buzz about this, and I knew this was going to be a big story, because how could it not be? It is so salacious, and I still can't believe it's real. You know, a cop was killed, and an innocent by inside another cop's house, and she was framed by a corrupt state police detective who was good friends with the homeowners. I didn't know the extent of it. I didn't know about 𝗵𝗂𝗺. I didn't know about 𝗵𝗺. I didn't know about Trooper Paul. I didn't know about Nicholas Garino. I knew the basics. If you go back and read part 1 of the Canton Coverup series, I just knew the basics of this shit. I knew Colin Albert. I knew Brian Albert, Jennifer McCabe. They're all on the cover of that story. Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. Those are kind of the big players. And I said Proctor, yeah. Those are kind of the big players, you know, that I knew. But I didn't know a lot of this other shit. I didn't know about Tristan Moore. I mean, there was like so many characters that have popped up since then that are tangential to this, that are it's just wild. So anyway, it builds the buzz for this. And I didn't publish it till 3:30 in the morning. Okay. On April 18th. A follower immediately contacted him after the Facebook post. That would be Jennifer Altman. She explained, who has been a turtle writer for years. She explained that she'd been in touch with a confidant of Karen Reed's named Natalie Bernschneider-Wowecki, also known as Natalie the German. And she connected them via Facebook. Although the evening, as Kearney continued to write, throughout the evening, he bombarded Wowecki with questions and requests. And Wowecki, who seemed supremely well informed in the minutiae of the case, provided him with the material. So like, I am, you know, having this conversation. I'd never met Natalie the German before. Again, Jennifer Altman is like, hey, Jennifer Altman has a big mouth. So she's on, when this story came out, she thought it was bullshit from the beginning. And she starts posting like, this doesn't sound right, whatever. And then Natalie the German sees it, and it's like, oh, I can insert myself into this, because she's like desperate for attention. And they start talking about it. She messages Jennifer Altman and thanks her, because Karen Reed didn't have many vocal supporters at the time. So Natalie presents herself as Karen's good friend from Bentley from 20 years ago that have reconnected over this case. And as it turns out, Karen doesn't even really remember her much from college. But Karen was happy to take any support that she could get at the time, because no one was paying attention to this shit. So anyway, Jen hooks me up with Natalie. And while I'm writing the story, I'm like, holy fuck, this is crazy. And I just had questions the whole time. So I'm messaging Natalie. I'm like, wait a minute. How'd the taillight get there? Wait a minute. So they planned a taillight? So if Karen didn't hit John, then why is her taillight broken? And then what do? They send me the ring video of Meadow's. Boom, she got an answer. She had an answer for everything. I thought Natalie was like the encyclopedia of Karen Reed shit at the time. I thought she knew this case inside and out. As it turned out, she was a glorified postman, you know, just passing messages back and forth. I don't think she knew shit or really cared about anything but attention. So, and the second that Karen Reed no longer wanted to, after she overstepped her boundaries with Karen and wouldn't, you know, stop requesting shit from her and texting her a million times a day, Karen politely asked her to chill. And Natalie decided that Karen Reed was guilty at that point. So, because whatever. So, a few hours later, Kearney published his post. And there was a lot of things I need. I need a lot of pictures. I didn't have a lot of pictures. I'm like, and they all had their Facebook pages up still. Like, I went on Courtney Proctor's Facebook page was wide open. And despite the fact that they had put all of this stuff in filings about like Colin at the wedding and, you know, being the ring bearer and Courtney Proctor's wedding and all this shit. All that shit was out there for like 6 months. And they had their Facebook pages up still, despite that, because no one was paying attention. Nobody cared. Tim Albert's threatening Facebook post was still up, saying no one fucks with my family. And then Daddy came along. And after I wrote part 1, they all disappeared, didn't they? Because that's what I do. I stand up to bullies. These were bullies. These are people who were so arrogant that they could get away with covering up a murder and didn't give a fuck. And when they saw that Daddy was on the case, right, they freaked out. That Chris Albert messaged me and was like, please don't, you got this all wrong. We should, this is unfortunate, he said. And Jillian Daniels like, no, they liked me. They wanted me to be on their side. Okay. Yes. And he was the guy at the waterfall. That's correct, Will. He was sitting right next to us. And so they wanted me to be on their side. And so when I wasn't, they knew the power of Turtleboy. And that's why they all went dark. They all shut down their shit after that. Okay. So from this outpouring, he was all in. Karen Reed is a completely innocent woman wrongly charged by corrupt cops who would see her rot in prison in order to cover up a murder of a fellow officer. Done. Boom. Roasted. Going forward, there would be 2 totally conflicting narratives. The narrative conveyed by the prosecution. Okay, so we don't need to go over all this about, the Google search and all that stuff. Broken tail light. O'Keefe's niece. Okay, we already know all this stuff. Diving deep into the defense's recent filing, complemented by his own supplementary research, Kearney laid out a very different narrative. He poured scorn upon the notion that O'Keefe's stated injuries, 6 bloodied lacerations varying in length on O'Keefe's right arm, from his forearm to his bicep, cut to the right eyelid of the victim, 2 swollen black eyes, a cut to the left side of the nose, approximately a 2-inch laceration in the back of the head, multiple skull fractures, were consistent with the impact from reversing a car. He also focused on what would become a talisman for those convinced of Reed's innocence. According to the defense expert, okay, so the how long to die in one, cold in one. Exactly. So that's what got me hooked. Presented as similarly complicating. So the Apple Health data, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to do all that. Basically, this is why I took the position that I did. Kearney, drawing on the defense's assertions, proposed an alternative version of events. That she dropped him off there, watched him enter the house with her car. When he didn't answer her calls outside, she left. There were 11 people in the house. Colin, a notorious hothead, and an out-of-control meathead. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we talk all about Colin, why I did what I did. All 11 people in the house, Kearney argued, must have either witnessed or been aware of the murder of John O'Keefe. It was McCabe, Kearney asserted, who suggested to Reed that she might have hit O'Keefe, and falsely suggested that Reed appeared to spot O'Keefe's body in the snow. Okay, all blah, blah, blah. He also dealt the pre-existing relationship between the families, so we went over all that. Those Kearney implicated would later dispute almost everything he suggested. Colin and Brian would deny everything. Jennifer McCabe denied everything. For his part, Michael Proctor admitted to having a personal relationship with Brian Albert's brother and his wife, but denied they influenced the investigation in any way. Still, plenty of people found Kearney's narrative compelling. I published it, he said, and broke the website. I had to upgrade my servers. His YouTube broadcast the next evening, in which he again went through this material, drew far more viewers than ever before. He had titled the initial article Part 1 because he realized that this was part story that would require more than one. Okay. He's got over 500 now stories, YouTube broadcasts. I rarely have time for anything else now, he told me when we first met. Every day I used to wake up and I wouldn't know what I was going to write. And that's true. I used to wake up every day and be like, what am I going to write about today? What school is having a drag queen story hour today? Is Monica Connie Grant up to something today? Is Tyler Falconer killing dogs today? You know what I mean? There's always some story. I didn't know what I was going to write every day. I would check the inbox and I would go from there. But that doesn't happen anymore. I know every day is Karen Reed now, and it has been for like the last 2 years. I will do some other stories here and there, but for the most part, this is my life right now. As Kearney's audience grew, he relentlessly seeded the idea that a great injustice was taking place. He's not shy about taking credit for the effects he's had. During the retrial, he would declare, "You never would have heard of this trial without me." It's true. So again, he made me seem like, arrogant, cocky, I think, brash, all of which I embrace. I don't deny any of those things. I am cocky, right? Why wouldn't I be? I know what I've done. I know about the effect that the story's had. I mean, it's how can you not be a little bit cocky if you were me? I mean, be serious. I mean, you can hate me all you want, but can you blame me for being like a little bit cocky? Like when you go out and people are asking to take pictures with you all the fucking time and sign their books and do that, why wouldn't you be a little cocky? I mean, who the fuck wouldn't be a little bit satisfied with what they've accomplished in life when that shit starts happening to you? Okay. I mean, I think that's a normal, you don't think Tom Brady's a little bit cocky, right? I mean, you have to be humble. I'm humble, I'm not, I wouldn't say arrogant, but cocky. Sure. I own that. Okay. And I think that's how this story came across, as like this guy who is cocky and brash, but also, he passionate, also passionate. So Kearney's detractors, there were many even before he started writing about Karen Reed, and they have grown in number and fervor since, point out that he was not the first person to write about the story, suggesting he's taking credit for causing something when all he did was sail it in its slipstream. Maybe. But there's a solid argument that the whole public discourse around the trial, not just the heightened interest in it, but the galvanizing of a small movement of people committed to defending Karen Reed against what they believed was an imminent injustice, was catalyzed mainly by his interventions. He's a great writer. I like, Kearney likes to say that he is three things at once: a journalist, an activist, and an entertainer. Here are two particularly vivid examples of a rather unorthodox approach to covering the Reed case. This is great. You know what I mean? He's like, he gets me. He gets me. Don't confuse cocky for bukkake. Better be bukkake. Better be cocky than bukkake. It's true. I feel cocky about winning a poster. There you go. All right. So first, on June 5th, 2023, he turned up unannounced in the bleachers at a high school lacrosse game. Oh, which, by the way, was it Sunday? You guys know guess who's playing? You guys guess which two schools are playing for the Division I state championship in boys ice hockey? Guess. You'll never guess what two teams are playing for the Division I state championship in boys hockey. Guess. Yes, Canton against 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺. I swear to God, Canton's playing 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺. That's the same teams I went to the lacrosse game over, Canton 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺. And I'm a couple, 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺 loves Turtleboy. I was big in 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺 before Canton story ever came around. 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺's a red town. Okay. I love 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺. And I can pronounce it right too. And they brought, like, a couple months before Canton, I was at a 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺 school committee meeting giving a speech because they invited Monica Cannon Grant to be their guest speaker for Black History Month, despite the fact that she had already been arrested and charged with like 10 felony indictments by the United States Attorney's Office. All right. So yeah, I used to go to 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺 a lot, and so they're playing. So like going there that game, I felt at home, and with this new game, so they're playing on Sunday, and a couple of 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺 parents have already contacted me about this. Like their kids go to school there. It's called 𝗿𝗵𝗂𝗺. I mean, this is one of these towns, by the way, that you're like, look, Massachusetts is filled with towns that are not pronounced the way they look like. Worcester, Leicester, Peabody. 𝗫𝗄𝗃, it's called 𝗫𝗄𝗃, not 𝗫𝗄𝗃. And Bill, it's a 𝗵𝗺𝗃. No, 𝗵𝗺𝗃. So there's a lot of towns like that in Leominster, you know. There's a lot of towns like that in Massachusetts that and 𝗵𝗺𝗃 is one of them. Anyway, so yeah, the couple parents have contacted me from 𝗵𝗺𝗃, and they've told me that the student section is going to chant "Free Karen Reed." Please do that, students, 𝗵𝗺𝗃 students, if you're out there. You guys will be fucking legends if you do that. We got to get it on tape, though. Got to get it on tape. We got to get a video of the 𝗵𝗺𝗃 student section chanting "Free Karen Reed." Need that to happen. Because the McAlberts love hockey. That's like their sport in the winter. They don't really do basketball. They do hockey. They like hockey. They like lacrosse, and they like soccer. And the boys play football, obviously. But those are the preferred McAlbert sports. So, I mean, Julie Nagel was on the, I mean, I don't know which position she played, but I would assume goalie. I would assume that's the only thing I could picture Julie Nagel playing. But anyway, yeah, 𝗵𝗺𝗃. That's another one. Haverhill, it's pronounced Haverhill. Anyway, so back to this. So he went there. He asked her, "Why did you Google how long to giant cold?" He asked as he filmed, "I'm just curious." She had a pained smile on her face, head turned toward the game. As Kearney repeated this question 7 times, told that he was bothering people, he retorted, "Well, they killed the cop. She's a cop killer. These are cop killers. You know they're cop killers, right?" When I asked Kearney what he was thinking as he filmed this, he replied, "This is great content. And also, I'm glad somebody's saying something to her." Honestly, this helps me in my legal case because it just shows like what was going on in your head. You know what I didn't say was going on in my head? Witness intimidation. Oh, I'm trying to get her to change her testimony. Like that didn't happen. This actually might be able to be used in my defense because he asked me straight up, like, that's actually a good defense for the witness intimidation. Matt McCabe came up with this idea when he told the grand jury, when they asked him, "Why is he doing this?" He goes, "I don't know, for the clicks." It's like, that actually helps. If you say it's for the clicks, well, then it's not for the witness intimidation, is it? Like, motive matters in this. I'm not doing this to intimidate anyone. I'm doing this because I'm a goddamn entertainer. But also, you know, I go, this is great content, but I'm glad somebody's saying something to her, you know, because I'm just morally outraged. And I'm just kind of curious. Why'd you Google that? You know, because you definitely Googled it. This is before Jessica Hyde or Ian Whiffen or anything like that. Oh, Woburn's another one. Not Woburn, Woburn. There's another one. All right. Let's see. Second, on July 22nd, he convened a rolling rally in which he led a convoy of supporters on a tour of the Canton area, stopping at the crime scene, the police station, the courthouse, and the homes of those he claimed were implicated in John O'Keefe's death, live streaming, all the while reciting the facts as he believed them through a bullhorn outside each property. Several dozen enthusiastic supporters could be seen on video. He claimed there was as many as 300, but they couldn't get there because of the traffic. It was just like a bottleneck, you know. From the video footage, the rolling rally's apparent atmosphere, and this is great. This is like, they talk it like, do the idiots on the other side realize how, like, language like this is so good? I think, like, look at the way he phrases this. This is his honest assessment of watching it. That Kearney has claimed, let's see, video footage, this rolling rally's apparent atmosphere was less that of a vengeful mob than of a lively campaigners' day out. Exactly. Though I imagine the distinction might seem moot to its targets, the first stop was the house of Brian Albert, who had moved into after selling 34 Fairview Road. Kearney proclaimed, "I do feel kind of bad for the neighbors, but sorry, murderers moved in, so it's unfortunate." Putting aside questions about the legality of these actions, it's times like these when Turtleboy's certainty is most striking, especially when you consider just how deeply horrible these actions would be if he's wrong. The first time I met Kearney, we had the following conversation, and I like this a lot. He says, "You'd agree that if Karen Reed didn't do this, then this is a horrendous thing that she's been put through." Yeah, definitely. I mean, goes without saying. But conversely, and Chris always grilled me. He'd always ask me like tough questions, and I was happy to answer them because he's got to play the devil's advocate. He's got to ask the questions. And he's like, but conversely, do you agree that if the people you're pointing your finger at didn't do it, then they're being put through a pretty horrendous experience? I go, yeah, but there's no way they didn't do it. If there was any way possible that he was not killed inside 34 Fairview Road, I would not be taking the position I am. And that's true. If I thought there was a 1% chance he was not killed inside that house, I would not be taking the position I am. I am 100% sure he was killed inside that house. Boom, roasted. Exactly. But to say there's a 0% chance of the state's narrative being true, or some version of it being true, is a pretty hardcore determination. I go, I think it's the most logical determination. What if it isn't? I can't answer that question because it's impossible for it not to be true. If I say, well, then I'd feel bad, then it makes the reader believe that I think this is a possibility. I don't. I've never been so sure of anything in my whole life. I would literally bet everything I've ever known on the fact that he was inside that house and beaten up. Does that sound like the kind of guy who's just doing this for clicks and is doing this because for money? No, this is a guy who fucking believes this shit. And so do all of you people. We all are. We've never been so sure of anything in our entire lives. You know what I mean? That's why we're out there all the time doing this shit, because we're fucking certain of it. And we're not like protesters by nature. Like most of the people out there, this is their first protest. They've never been part of something like this before. It's something special. Kearney seemed to have a traditional reporter's dogged obsessiveness in search of evidence, sources, and telling details. But from the start, he's also frequently seemed to have the best information. In the second half of 2023, as the case drew more coverage and as Kearney's role, both popularizing it and turning public opinion in Reed's favor, gained notice, he was sometimes asked whether he was colluding with Reed or her defense team. He would deny any direct dealings with Reed. That denial was, Kearney now acknowledges, a lie. Not long after he was connected via Facebook to Reed's friend Natalie in April of 2023, he became aware that his source was more than simply well-informed. She was channeling messages from Reed. In fact, Kearney said that Natalie was nothing but a copy and paste for Karen. A few weeks after his first article, Kearney and Reed began to communicate directly, which is the downfall of Natalie. Just how they did when it was revealed when Reed's phone was seized by state police in January of 2024. Over 7.5 months, from May 7th to December 21st, 189 calls lasting more than 40 hours were logged between them. Beyond that were all the text messages and some calls they had exchanged on Signal. And that's the truth, right? Like people like, we lied. Well, she was an anonymous source. So honestly, if I go back, like Gretchen, I was quoted in Boston Magazine as saying that I'd never spoken to her when she asked. What I should have told Gretchen, reporter to journalist, is, I can't answer that, right, Gretchen? I don't reveal sources. That should have been what I said in hindsight, is, I don't reveal sources. But again, it's the first time I've ever been in a situation like this. So here we are. Okay. Yeah, I denied it, Kearney told me, because I didn't have her permission. She was an anonymous source. He sees nothing to apologize for. I'm a journalist writing a story. This is the subject of the story. She's allowed to talk to me. What this was, he maintained, was just him doing his job. I had the best source of information. She could give me information that no other journalist could get a hold of, and none of it was illegal. Yet even if everything Kearney had done is legal, many of his critics have suggested that he's either knowingly or unknowingly being exploited by a murderer to sway public opinion and bolster her defense. As Kearney puts it, the dastardly Karen Reed was like the grand puppet master of the whole thing. Or maybe in a more nuanced way, that Reed had managed to find a patsy, smart and motivated enough, but also credulous enough to carry her water further than she could have ever dreamed possible. All she needed to do was sketch out a plausible framework within which she might be innocent. With his unstoppable drive, Kearney had filled in the gaps. Here's my question for all the haters out there. If the dastardly Karen Reed was just using me to, promote her story, why the fuck did she wait so long? And why didn't she contact me? What? Why? Karen Reed was not a turtle rider prior to this. She obviously was not. From her boyfriend was, but she is a little too. She's more of an Atlantic reader, I think, a little more high class, right? Not really. Karen Reed was not my usual market that I sought to appeal to, you know? So I don't think she read my work very often. She might have heard of me, but she certainly didn't, wasn't some diehard turtle rider or anything like that. And she never reached, because she would have reached out to me. Like, they wanted media coverage of this, right? They weren't getting any. And then I come along and make this Facebook post. And Jennifer Altman contacts Natalie, and Natalie contacts Karen, and Karen and her defense team talk about this. And they're like, who's this guy? He's going to write about this? Sure. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I say go for it. Have Natalie talk to him. And that's exactly what happened. Natalie contacted Jen Altman. She was the first to initiate that, but that was before I was even on board. Before. So there we go. No, I mean, you guys are high class, but I'm saying Karen Reed has no interest in, like, New Bedford 𝗵𝗺 selling her food stamps on Facebook. Like, I think that shit's hilarious. And, my audience loves that shit, and I love that shit. But I don't think the Karen Reeds of the world, I just don't think that's what appealed to her. So anyway, back to this. Yeah, and that's a good point, Jen. When Natalie reached out to Jennifer Altman, she did not know that she knew me. Okay? Natalie didn't know what Turtleboy was. And so Jennifer Altman was advocating for Karen on random Facebook posts prior to my interest in this story. Okay. And Jen contacted me after I made that Facebook post announcing that I was looking into this. Okay. Yet even if everything Kearney has done is legal, many of his critics have suggested he's either okay, we've been over that. Kearney dismisses all such possibilities. He's adamant that he has neither accepted anything Reed has told him uncritically, nor allowed himself to be steered into writing what she wanted him to write. If anyone could show me any evidence that Karen Reed has been dishonest with me or is somehow hiding something, I will blast her. I would just rip Karen to shreds. But she always brings evidence to back up everything she says. I like that quote. And take that, trolls. And I meant that too. And I've said this a million times. And I said that in a message to the fake victim when I reviewed our messages. I'm like, because she's like, oh, there's evidence that Karen Reed is guilty. I'm like, oh, show me then. She's like, oh, I can't. I have to. It's inadmissible. Oh, is this that rumor about the text message to Yannetti? Oh, God. No, that's not real. Oh, God. Okay. So, yeah, that never happened. She'd never talked to Yannetti prior to her phone being seized. So that makes no sense. And so, like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you got evidence Karen Reed's guilty, I'll publish it. But it can't be something retarded. Okay. It can't be like, oh, she said this on Dateline and then she said this on fucking 2020. That's fucking retarded. Like, I need real evidence. I need something to work with here. You know what I mean? Like, they have nothing. Every fucking lead they have is retarded. It's like, oh, she was going 24 miles an hour in reverse in 62 feet. No, that's retarded. That's fucking stupid. No, I don't believe that. That's makes no sense at all. I need something. How about some ring camera footage? Something like that. How about that? Can you do that for me? I don't know. Something. There's literally nothing because you can't come up with anything. So anyway, back to this. When I first met him, Kearney brought up unbidden a related accusation. This is the car they think Karen Reed's brother bought for me, he said as we approached his 2023 Lexus RX 350 parked among pink FKR battalion outside the courthouse. Reed's brother works for a Lexus dealership. Kearney said that his bank records were pulled to investigate, but that nothing was found. Okay. The reality is more prosaic. I am making more money than I used to, but I'm not being paid by Karen Reed. I'm being paid by the people you're seeing here. He gestured to the pink clad crowd. These people buy Turtle Boy shirts. They donate. They buy subscriptions. I'm doing something and I'm doing it well and it's paying off. Welcome to America, motherfuckers. There you go. Kearney couldn't have imagined all the repercussions his story would have for his own life. It is a peculiar irony that while Reed has thus far spent only a single night in jail, 3 days after O'Keefe's death, Kearney, the loudest supporter of the movement, has served 60 days behind bars. Exactly. Towards the end of 2023, we talks about the Meatball 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗂 hostage video. Kearney was predictably far from impressed. He live streamed a response from his car. I was so mad as he watched 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗂's video. No, it doesn't need to stop. It needs to accelerate, baby. It's not going to stop. It's going to go a million times harder now than it did before. Woo! Before he added, you are my enemy, Michael 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗂. Just know that. I will not rest until you are completely destroyed. Only later did Kearney come to see 𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗂's video in a somewhat different light. That was my one and only warning to cut the shit or else I was going to jail, he said. That video was for me, and it was. That video is directed at me. On the morning of Wednesday, October 11th, Kearney had just seen his kids get on the bus when he was arrested and released on bail. He would be charged with a list of crimes, the rolling rally, blah, blah, blah. It sounds very serious on paper, but my attorney is just not the least bit worried. Neither am I. In legal filings, his primary lawyer characterized Kearney's work as peaceful investigative journalism, satire, and political hyperbole. Kearney argued that these charges have been deliberately engineered to discredit him because my reporting has been so effective in galvanizing the public support for Karen Reed. Exactly. The reason they charged me with witness intimidation is not to convict me. They know everything I've done is legal and free speech and protected. The reason is so that they can just point to me and say, you believe that guy? He's been charged with 16 felonies. He's a bad person. That is exactly it. True words have never been spoken. I didn't get why they arrested me at first. Now I get it. Because I'm like, what are they fucking trying to do here? All they're trying to do is just get the first thing that to outsiders who follow this case were like, oh, that guy. They knew that I was reporting major news stories involving in this. And they decided that if they could steal the headlines with, oh, he's intimidating witnesses, no one will pay attention to all the legitimate journalism I've done on this case. That's why they did it, period. The conventional legal advice, if you've been charged with something, is not to repeat or compound or talk about alleged offenses, at least in the matter it's resolved. This is not the Turtle Boy way. Each time a new prosecution document spelled out his supposedly criminal words and deeds, he's gone through it on one of his broadcasts, paragraph by paragraph, justifying everything. Partly this big business pragmatism. I'm paid to talk, so I have to. But he says it's a matter of principle. The way Kearney sees it, when he confronts those who were at Brian Albert's house that night, he is facing down those who abuse their power. I mean, they really thought this article was bad. This article like perfectly gave me the chance to just sum up why I do what I do. You know, these people are thugs and bullies and mean girls. And for once, someone is standing up to them. His own case has been moving slowly. Any resolution is not expected until later this year. It could be resolved this week. This might quite reasonably leave one wondering how then Kearney has already spent 60 days in the can. The explanation requires a detour into Kearney's sometimes messy personal life. Exactly. I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. I did not go to jail because of, you know, witness intimidation. I went to jail because I was addicted to dangerous pussy. Like, that's all it came down to. Like, the thrill of it all was just exhilarating. Like that's the truth of the matter. Like I loved it. Like somebody messages me in with a picture of themselves in a free Karen Reed shirt and calls me daddy. And I'm like looking at her pictures and I'm like, oh yeah, this'll do. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Sign me up. That's the way I view it. I'm like, fuck it. Yeah, let's go. And I just didn't give a shit. It was fun. It was I had a great time. Like that's all it was. And then it got more dangerous as it went on. And we've been over this and the true colors started coming out. And I'm like, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm not marrying this girl. What the fuck do I care? I don't have to like her. I don't have to get along with her. You know what I mean? I'm just like, whatever. And then Clay came along and everything changed. And that's when and then I'm fucking stuck. I'm like, oh, fucking crazy. But I mean, that's the truth of it all, is like my personal life was shit. And I'm hiding this all at the same time. Like I'm hiding it all. So I'm like living this double life. And I'm like, oh, I had to hit rock bottom. I believe that firmly. I think God wanted me to go to jail. I believe that. So anyway, the explanation requires a detour into his personal life. His current career sat poorly with his wife. She married a teacher, he told me. Turtleboy is not what she signed up for, and I get it. He was reluctant to clarify too much because I won't talk about her, and I've always been that way on my show, in the blogs before this. I will not talk about her on my show at all. She was never a Turtleboy fan. Didn't like it, didn't read any of my shit. It's obviously a cause of, it's hard to keep a marriage together when you don't talk about what the other one does for work, right? And so like I never have, and I never will, period. So there's that. You'll never hear a bad word out of my mouth about her or anything like that. So he was reluctant to clarify too much, but various stories he's told about his life in recent years seem to involve relationships with other women. He is referred to sneaking around, living this double life that I shouldn't have been living. Okay. So toward the end of 2023, Kearney was in a relationship with a woman named Lindsay Gattani. Then they split up. The exact details, I didn't like this paragraph. The exact details of what took place between them are contested in court filings and are also poisonously debated on social media to this day. There is a fecund online ecosystem devoted to poring over Kearney's perceived evils, the anti-Turtleboy industrial complex, he calls it. He says one of his lawyers told him, I thought Alex Jones was the most hated client I ever had until I had you. That's a Mark Randazza quote. So that's a Mark Randazza quote right there because he represented Alex Jones. And I mean, it is impressive. I mean, you got to admit, like the amount of hate for me. I think I have more haters than Alex Jones. I think I have more haters than fucking Michelle Wu. I mean, you name it. Some of the most controversial people out here. I would argue the people dedicated to destroying me are a million times more dedicated than anybody else who offends people, you know? Okay, back to this. What is undisputed is that some weeks after the relationship had notionally ended, Kearney visited Gattani's home. Each would offer a very different account of who initiated this meeting. It was her. And we got the screenshots and the text message to prove it. But I didn't want to get too into that with him. You know what I mean? I did not want this to be, she's gotten enough attention. So I tried not to talk to him too much about her. Kearney says that she asked him over to discuss a summons she had received relating to the Reed case and believes he has evidence that suggests that she was deliberately colluding with the police to entrap him. She alleges that he assaulted her. Kearney strongly denies this. The problem is, if you're already on bail when you face an accusation like this, your bail may be revoked, and that is what happened. On December 26th, his 42nd birthday, he was taken to Norfolk County Jail. Against his wishes, he was placed in isolation because of my high profile. Kearney had been on Adderall for nearly 20 years, and now he had to do without. That adjustment was difficult. I couldn't stay awake during the day, and because of that, I couldn't sleep at night. He missed his son's first basketball game. He missed his daughter's cheer competitions. He told his kids that he was away for work in a way that I was. This is a powerful, powerful paragraph right there, folks. And it's all true. Going without a medication that you've been on for 20 years, and just going cold turkey like that, no adjustment, because they don't do stimulants in jail. They don't prescribe those. And it was like that. Like I took Adderall every day and it helped me focus. And anybody who's takes Adderall knows that it wakes you up, it makes you more alert, etc. Makes you more focused. So then you go off it for the first, and you're like, I would nap all the time in jail. I'd never take naps in real life. I would let first few days in jail, like the first week I napped all the fucking time, and constant, because I couldn't stay awake. And consequently, at night, nighttimes are horrible because it's like I would wake up and I would have no idea what time it was at all. There's no clocks in jail. And you're like, I would wake up and I'd be like, is it fucking 1? Is it midnight? I don't know fucking what time it is. And I can't sleep. And there would be times it's uncomfortable. And you're like, it's a fucking roll up mat. And I'm just like, what the fuck? After like a few days, after like 5 or 6 days, I met with and I forgot her name. I saw her at the diner one time and I totally forgot her fucking name. She was great to me in jail too. She was the shrink. She was like the jail shrink. And she prescribed me Wellbutrin, which Maureen, the nurse, who I love, came to my cell every morning at 5:30 and fed me. And, she wouldn't chop it up either like the other guy. And she would just let me take it and swallow it. And they make it, I got to make sure you actually took it. And then I go back to sleep, 6 o'clock, breakfast, go back to sleep for an hour. And then, because you got to eat the breakfast. If you don't eat it, you're going to be hungry all fucking day. You got to force that shit down. Unless it's the oatmeal. And then I'm just eating the cornbread on the side. Okay. I had a whole system. And I'm not eating the only things I didn't eat in jail are the bananas and the oatmeal. Ugh, gross. And anyway, but oatmeal was rare. It was mostly hard-boiled eggs, which I liked. So 3 of them a day, you're good. So I got in really good shape in jail, and I came out of jail fucking shredded. I took a couple pictures afterwards. I'm like, I don't even recognize myself when I came out. Like, holy shit, because I worked out all the time. But but I was also going through like serious depression in the first week. The first week I probably lost like 10 pounds in the first week because of this new scheduling shit. You know what I mean? Like not just napping all the time. And eventually I got into a routine and I made the most of it. Okay. But I don't ever want to do that again. Don't get me wrong. But Kearney says prison was not so bad. I wouldn't say it was horrible. It was so bad. I don't know if that's the right word. It was so bad. I don't want to you know what I mean? It was really bad. Okay. But I had to make the most of it. And it was harder for me than it was for other prisoners because other prisoners the time goes by faster. Like the hardest thing in jail is you just want the time to go by fast. And it's getting that time to go by fast that is the hardest thing to do. Okay. And it is significantly harder to get the time to go by fast when you're by yourself. Okay. Which I was the entire time. I had no interactions with other prisoners except when I did rec in their living areas and they would call me over to their cells to be like, yo, Turtleboy. Like they all knew who I was. They were like, yo, Turtleboy, like they all liked me. I was well liked in jail. But I didn't get to hang out with anyone at all, which some CEOs said was probably a good thing. There you go. You don't want to fucking meet any of these fucking douchebags. So anyway, like it was just boring. Like it would just go by so slow. Like again, 21 hours in a cell. The rest of the prisoners would get 9 hours of rec a day. So that's 15 hours in your cell, 9 hours to wander around the area, play basketball. Oh my God. I thought about that all the time. And they were like, no, we can't put you in there. It's for your own safety. And I'm like, I'll take my chances. Most of the people in here are crackheads anyway. I don't think, whatever. If somebody starts shit with me, I can defend myself. I'm not that worried about it. And, it just went by fucking slow. They would not move me out. I got my lawyer involved. We tried to get me out of there. They just wouldn't fucking do it. Even during like on January 8th was the restraining order hearing. And I spent like all fucking day in those cells beneath the courthouse at Stoughton District Court. And I remember being in there and like, there's this other prisoner there with me from Norfolk County. And, I was like, yo, what unit you in, and he's spent so much time in jail. This guy, like a lot of people in jail that's just what they do. They just go to jail. And I'm not a jail guy. So, but I like chess. And I'm like, so what unit you in? Oh, I'm over. And I think he was in 1B or something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get in a unit, trying to get out of there. What do you guys do all day? It's like, oh, I always play chess and fucking shoot hoops. And I'm like, oh, sounds awesome. You know what I mean? It sounds like, oh, I got love. I have nothing in common with this fucking guy. He's probably a ratchet as fuck, you know, but it's just somebody to talk to. You know what I mean? They put me in a fucking medical by myself all day. Like they Richard Allen me. Exactly. That's exactly what they did. I got the Richard Allen treatment. Not quite. Not quite. I did have a tablet. So, which kept me connected to the outside world. So he ran actually ran like 7 or 8 miles a day. And then he read To Kill a Mockingbird, which he hadn't liked in high school, but did now. The Happiest Man on Earth, about a centenarian Holocaust survivor, 100 years old. Then 1984, he also began to build a relationship with a Reed supporter named Meredith O'Neill, who'd sent him supportive messages. By the time he was released, they were a couple. I've been over all this before. Soon afterwards, the assault and battery charge that had triggered his bail revocation was dropped. It could still be refiled, but has not been as of this writing. You put me in jail for 60 fucking days. Big deal, he declared on one of his broadcasts after he was released. I lost 10 pounds. I got close to my parents. I built new relationships. I met a much better girl. Like, life is so much better now. It's like one of the best things that ever happened to me. All I do is win. I hope they know that. Putting me in jail turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. So thank you, motherfucker. And he raised 2 middle fingers. Yeah, yeah, Scott gets it because Scott used to work in jails. Like it was all just about like PR. Like they were worried, like if something happens to this guy in a housing unit, this guy's gonna write about it, and they did not want that to happen. So there's that. Anyway, that's the face Kearney seems more comfortable presenting to the world. Still, his first night out of jail, when he went to bed on his wife's couch, and I did. That was the only night I spent there when I first got out, and I'm like. I asked her, I'm like, can I just stay? I'm like, we had already discussed getting divorced. And I'm like, but I'd like to, my first night back, can I just sleep on a couch where I've slept the last fucking 7 years anyway? So like, who cares? And he couldn't, but I couldn't sleep because we got these 2 pictures. There's pictures all over the walls of my kids. And I just kept looking at them. And I'm like, I can't, no fucking way. I couldn't sleep. I could sleep fine in jail. And then I get out and I can't fucking sleep. So I'm like, and I texted Janelle Webb, actually. She'll tell this. And she's like, go in. And I told her, I'm like, I just looking at these pictures and I can't ever leave them again. And so, because that's by far the hardest fucking part is talking to them on the phone and not being able to say where you were. And it's just hard to have conversations with them on the phone in jail because they're kids. And you're like, like, how was your day? Oh, what'd you learn in school today? It's just like a forced conversation. That is not how we interact, when we're home. Like we just shoot the shit. You know what I mean? And it's about hanging out and, Daddy, look at this. Like that's what parenting is. Not how was your day today? What'd you learn in school? Like that was the hardest fucking part, was being taken away from those 2. And so then you're back after the hardest 60 days of your life because you're taken away from them. And then you see their pictures on the wall. And I just couldn't sleep because I'm like worried about they're going to try to send me back for something. I know it. They're definitely going to try to send me back. Fake victim already contacted me the night before. And so Janelle Webb tells me, she's like, just go, my son had a queen bed, and just go up and lie in bed with your son. And so I did that. And I was able to fall asleep for like an hour and a half just because I wanted to be close to him. And so from like 3:30 to 5, I slept in his bed. And then I just couldn't sleep much more. The next night I slept like 3 hours, and then it gradually got back in the routine of like being out. So it took time, even though it's like 60 days. It doesn't seem that long. It's hard to get reacquainted to like your life. You know what I mean? Especially when you live in constant fear of going back. Like it's no joke. It's fucked up, So like, it's really fucked up, like what they're doing to me and my kids. And it's just like, it's so fucking evil. And so I really hope Robert Cosgrove, who I'm Not convinced is pure evil. But if he tries to revoke my bail, I will change my opinion on that. Like, who the fuck does that over a goddamn what you saw in those videos? You think people should go to if you think people should go to jail over what you saw in that fucking video, you're a monster. You're a fucking monster. There's no other way around it. Period. Anyway, so I said, he couldn't sleep. He kept looking at his kids' photos on the wall and thinking about how he would never leave them again. He reconsidered everything. For the first time, he found himself wondering, should he stop writing about Karen Read? Because look at what's at risk there. He just told me, like, I could lose them. Nothing is worth that. You know, should I just stop? And it's the only time I've ever thought about that. Okay. He didn't stop. The incessant episodes about the Canton cover-up and his YouTube live broadcast soon resumed. On Thursday nights, Kearney does a private broadcast on Turtle Club. Being Turtleboy has been very profitable for Kearney. Boston Magazine estimated he earns $45,000 to $50,000 a month. He doesn't explicitly dispute this, but notes that he has operating expenses as well as $250,000 in legal fees. Exactly. I don't know, like, to explain, because I didn't tell Catherine Elton that I made $45,000 to $50,000 a month. So to explain how she came up with this number, he told me that the writer estimated a figure. She asked me how many subscribers are at in Turtle Club. I'm like, probably like 2,000. So she does the math. 2,000 times 15 is 30,000. And then, you know, merch, like, she just did the math, you know? But then, you know, that didn't factor in other things. When I pointed out that he had other revenue streams too, website advertising, merchandise, as well as a potential movie and book deals, he said he had no clear sense of what he was earning. I'm not a money guy. He said, I'm a content guy. That's exactly it. It's like, I don't even pay attention to how much. I have no fucking clue how much I'm making. None. Absolutely no fucking idea at all, which is kind of a problem, because I should probably know how much I get paid, because I'm going to be looking to buy a house and I'm going to need financing, and you need an answer for that question, don't you? So it's going to be, it ain't going to be that much. Like, it's going to be more than I made as a teacher, more than I was making before Karen Read, but not like cash money. Like, I'm not making $500,000 a year or anything like that. Like, so, you know, maybe someday, but we'll see. I'm exactly, because I'm a cheap motherfucker. You know, in my, you know, like, I have not done my taxes yet for 2024. 2023 got an extension. Like, my taxes became much more complicated because I needed to hire a bookkeeper. I used to just input my own shit onto QuickBooks, but dude, I have way too many transactions now. Like, I wouldn't have time to keep up with any of this shit at all. So I just have to I gotta, you know, adjust to this all. We'll see. I'll never sell out. I don't care how much money I'll make. I'll always be me. But, you know, we'll see. All right, back to this. One evening last July 1st, I joined Kearney as he prepared to deliver his Turtle Club broadcast from his girlfriend's Boston apartment. Seconds before going live, he took his seat, slipped the Turtleboy cap on his head, and started streaming. After more than an hour of monologuing, he started reading out what he calls turtle chats. People send him money, typically $5 to $20, though sometimes more, and in return, he reads out their questions or comments. There's apparently an understood etiquette here. One best to not fall afoul of. Seeing one message, he said sternly to the camera, "You can't send $1. If you send $1, I ain't reading your shit. It's insulting." In response to a message soon came from someone named Ben, taking exception to this, informing Kearney, "You lost me, bro." What happens next reflects something fundamental about Kearney. Instead of brushing off Ben's message, Kearney escalated it dramatically. He knows me too well. I mean, this is like, it's like, you got to admit, he gets me. You know, it's like he studied me. Let me be very clear, Ben. I couldn't be happier to lose you. I hope you never come back and watch any of my shows again. I actually fucking hate you with every ounce of my being, and I'd be proud to have you unsubscribe to the channel. Now, that's not something that most content creators tell their subscribers. It's just not. but I did it earlier in the stream. I banned someone. It's like, I don't fucking, it's like, fuck them. Fuck Ben. Hi, Ben. And I'm sure Ben's still watching. I always just say that you ain't going nowhere. You'll be right back. You'll just make a new account. You ain't going nowhere. Stop it. And yet, $1 is fucking insulting. Like, I am not a cheap whore. You cannot throw dollars at me. $5 maybe, but easy with the dollars. Okay. Anyway, exactly. Know your worth. That's the big thing. Like, you got to know what you're worth. Like, I am not some dollar whore. I'm not dancing for you for that. You know, Kearney has brought the same hyper incendiary instincts to his coverage of the trial. When I visited him last May, he had just been banned from YouTube for a week because of an online poll he posted asking his followers a question about the trial's most recent 2 witnesses. Who is the bigger piece of shit? Julie Nagel or Katie McLaughlin? He told me he is just using his platform to say out loud what regular people watching the trial stream are thinking. It's guy on the street talk, he said. I'm rough around the edges, certainly. I have a potty mouth. My mother's always telling me to tone it down, and I'd like to. It's something I'm working on. Perhaps not that hard, though. He's funny. Chris is funny. He's like, perhaps not that hard, though. Here's a brief expert, not even the worst part, from his live stream commentary about a testimony of a witness named Julie Nagel. Okay. This goddamn murder trial. There's an innocent woman whose life is on the line, and all these towny fucking whores can do is get up on the stand and lie their fucking asses off. I hope you burn in eternal hell, because that's where you fucking belong, you fat, stupid cow. You deserve to be fat and disgusting because you disgust me. I love it. I love that that's in the fucking Atlantic, that quote. But that's why I like the way he wrote the story. It just shows that, like, I'm like kind of struggling to be a better version of myself, but I also don't want to be. Like, I kind of want to be. Like, I want to make my mom proud, and I want to give my kids something to be proud of, but I'm also like impulsive and just get fucking pissed and just rip into people sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he did a really good job of painting the entire picture of who I am and why I do what I do. And, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but, like, I'm pissed off sometimes, So it's like, I thought it was excellent the more I read this. But even as he's delivering crude, derogatory comments like this, he's also providing cogent, detailed, this is great, and deeply knowledgeable analysis of the trial. This is a man who, on and off camera, can pivot in an instant from saying things like towny fucking whores to offering a deconstruction of subtle contradictions in testimony, or explaining how the last famous and controversial trial at the Norfolk courthouse was of 𝗃𝗃ole Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti, the Italian anarchists convicted of murder and executed in the 1920s. Sacco and Vanzetti didn't have Karen Reed's lawyers, he says. Exactly. It's great. This is awesome. As the prosecution presented its case at trial, Kearney appeared to grow even more confident that Reed would be found not guilty. You guys, you probably can't read it as well, but fuck it. It's probably better this way. Kearney appeared to, that she would be found not guilty. It was hard not to see things in his way. Day after day, witnesses for the prosecution seemed to be brought to the stand less for purposes of showing how and why Reed was responsible for O'Keefe's death than to undermine the defense's alternative theory that O'Keefe was killed inside 34 Fairview Road. I told Kearney that I assumed there must be some careful but as yet unveiled prosecutory plan at work, but Kearney was skeptical, never wavering for what he told me the day we met. This is going to be the quickest acquittal you've ever seen. So that turned out to be untrue. Kearney's nom de blog comes from an infamous statue in the center of his hometown with its own messy history. The Burnside Fountain, now found on the southeast corner of Worcester Common, was built in the early 20th century and features a bronze statue, didn't used to be bronze, that the sculptor who was commissioned to construct it, Charles Harvey, named A Boy with a Turtle. His design depicted a naked boy holding a hawk's bill sea turtle as he undertook the work in his New York studio. Harvey apparently heard voices, sometimes said to have come from the unfinished statue itself, telling him to kill himself. Heeding them, he went to the bank of the Bronx River and slit his throat. Holy shit, I didn't even know that. Another artist completed the statue. So there's the Burnside. I did not even know that part of the history. But that is not why Harvey's final works became famous. It's not entirely clear whether Harvey's intentions were to depict a boy riding a turtle upon the seas or to capture the moment of releasing a turtle into the wild. But one scenario comes to mind for many observers. As Kearney succinctly put it, the statue looks like a boy having sex with a turtle. Exactly. The idea that the name Turtleboy was not Kearney's own, inviting suggestions for what to call a new iteration of his blog in 2013, which at the time he intended to be anonymous. He considered word from the Woo. That was one possible name of the blog. 𝗄𝗲𝗄𝗆 was another one. And then a follower, a kid I used to coach in track at Doherty High School by the name of Brian Tagney, came up with the name Turtleboy Sports. And I'm like, that's it. That's the name right there. Stop the fight. The name of the blog is going to be Turtleboy Sports. Done. It was just like over. That's the name. His followers soon became known by the name they had, and it's one of the best decisions that I ever made calling this Turtleboy. Like the branding of it all, I couldn't imagine it being called anything else. Like it's fucking brilliant. Like one of the best moves I ever made is calling this website Turtleboy. I love it. His followers soon became known by the name they have to this day, Turtle Riders. When I asked Kearney why, he said, well, it's better than Turtle Fuckers. Okay. One day in the first week of June, a trial day, Kearney and I arranged to talk at lunchtime. Well, he drove back to Worcester to see his kids after school. But when he emerged from the courtroom, he asked whether I minded if we made a detour. Some turtle riders were gathering for lunch. At first, I couldn't understand why they'd chosen a restaurant nearly half hour from the courthouse. Then it became clear. Turtle riders' chosen meeting place was the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton, the final place where Karen Reed and John O'Keefe drank together. It's where they mingled. Okay. But that's not all I would see on our drive. He asked me, do you want to see 34 Fairview Road? He took a left turn and soon we arrived. They say that she was parked right here and that John just stood back there by the flagpole and that she gunned it in reverse and hit him. Kearney is fond of experiments and reenactments, both for his own edification and to create content for his viewers. In September, he had come here in his Lexus and tried to duplicate what the prosecution said Reed did based on his interpretation of data from her fancier 2021 Lexus LX 570, abruptly 42. So we've all seen this. That's where John's body was found, he pointed. As we talked through various scenarios, a car pulled up, and this happened. Like when I was like, we were outside Fairview Road, and I'm like showing him, like, you want to check it out? And we're sitting there talking, and then a car pulls up. Oh my God, screamed one of the two women in the car. Shut up, screamed the other. We were just fucking talking about you. And this is perfect. I'm like writing this story, and it's like wherever I went with Chris, fucking people were like, holy shit, Turtleboy. You know, like, and everybody was happy. There was nobody ever confronted us or anything. Like he got a perfect picture of what what people really think of Turtleboy. They couldn't believe they chanced upon Turtleboy in the flesh at the geographic epicenter of their obsession. Nice to meet you, he said in a way that seemed both friendly and designed to chill the temperature a little. When they asked for a photo, he got out of the car and posed with them. At the waterfall, he knew most of the people joining for lunch. Maybe a couple dozen turtle riders who seemed to be part of some informal inner circle, also known as boots on the ground, they're called now. And he didn't grandstand at all. Instead, Kearney sat at the edge of the room, talking quietly with whoever came, but making no pronouncements. This wasn't Bullhorn Turtleboy. Yeah, Erica was there. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what I mean. Like he saw the real side of me here. Like that I'm just man of the people Turtleboy. On the next morning's bus stop live, he told turtle riders about me and what he'd gotten to see while hanging out with him and his crowd. He got a taste of Turtle World, he said. I'd seen how cool these people are and the lies that have been spread about who we are and what we do, and that we're dangerous and bloodthirsty and, you know, intimidating witnesses. We're not about that, man. We've never been about that. Exactly. And anybody who presents otherwise is lying. Like I told Sean Cotter from the Globe that I'm like, go down and talk to the pink people. as you guys call them. Go talk to them. You will see how fucking educated these people are about this story. Ask them why they're down here. Talk to them. That's what reporters should be doing, right? Is ask. Instead, so many in the media are just painting them as like rabid mob and intimidators. It's just such a lie. And I will defend you people to the death of me and your honor. On June 10th of 2024, day 22 of the testimony in the Reed trial began with Kearney tweeting photos of the gathered protesters at dawn with this message. Sometimes I can't believe I started this movement, but I'm really glad I did. Early in the day's proceedings, taking exception to the latest ruling by Judge Beverly Canoni, who in Turtleboy world is often referred to as Auntie Bev, he tweeted, Auntie Bev is being extra cunty today. One darkly comic measure of how much influence Kearney has had on this trial is this affection for giving offensive nicknames to people he doesn't like leached out on the sideshow into the official trial record. One of the police investigators, 𝗫𝗄𝗄𝗆, had been mischievously rechristened by Turtleboy as 𝗵𝗂𝗆, the term for a very specific multi-person sexual act. On the stand, a witness named Julie Albert referred to 𝗵𝗂𝗆 from the witness box as Trooper 𝗵𝗂𝗆. Everybody in the courthouse looked at me, Kearney said afterwards. It was so satisfying because I'm like, oh, she listens to my show. Kearney's intemperate Auntie Bev comment was soon forgotten because the time had come for the lead police investigator in the case, Michael Proctor, to take the stand. Another complexity in the case was that, unbeknownst to the jury, there had been a federal grand jury investigation into the Reed investigation, a step toward justice if you're a Reed supporter, or a misguided fishing expedition that the Reed side somehow manipulated into existence if you're not. And although no charges have been filed as a result of this grand jury, it unearthed material that consequently became available in Reed's trial, including some deeply problematic private text messages sent by the lead investigator. And this is an important day because it gets me talking to Karen Reed again. After inviting Proctor to share details of the police investigation, the state's attorney led him through much of the problematic material. It was a remarkable spectacle. The prosecution getting its own witness through such unhelpful testimony. But presumably the attorney calculated that all of this had been even more devastating if it's first presented by the defense. Still, the effect of the material was incendiary. In a volley of text to friends, okay, we all know what Proctor said, etc. All right. Kearney certainly thought it was bad for Proctor. You can't truly appreciate how over this trial is, he tweeted, unless you see the faces of the jurors while Proctor reads these text messages. And all those jurors making faces were eliminated. None of them got to deliberate. Media coverage of the trial grew and grew in tandem with the teeming online scrum in which Reed's innocence or guilt was incessantly debated. It was apparently easy to survey the same morass of evidence. Okay. Almost everyone seemed to be sure of the truth. Okay. And everyone else is an idiot if you don't believe him. As the trial neared its end, Kearney was confident she would be acquitted, but he is also clearly exhausted. I'm kind of looking forward to it being over, he told me earlier. I'm Karen Reed it out. I enjoy the professional success I've had from it, but I don't enjoy the stress I've gotten from all these charges. That's a hell of a shot right there too, huh? Look at that one. I'm sitting there right now, actually, believe it or not. This is not actually the house of 34 Fairview Road behind me. That's a hell of a shot, though. I like that shot. Anyway, arguably, the most significant testimony came in the trial's final days. The prosecution's vehicular crash expert argued that they were inconsistent. Okay, so talking about how long to die in coal, blah, blah, blah. Snowplow driver Lucky Loughran. Kearney, who had been studying the jury members' reactions over the past few weeks, told me that he thought there was a 70% chance they would issue the inevitable not guilty verdict after less than a day's deliberation. Oh, to be so cocky. There were just a 30% chance they would need a second day. No other outcome seemed conceivable to him. I mean, that was my thought. You know what I mean? I really thought, I'm like, no fucking way. But the first day passed, and then the second, and then the third. Now it was the weekend. And before the jury reconvened, two things happened. First, on Saturday, Aidan Kearney's mother, who had pancreatic cancer, died. So that's, and I didn't tell anybody this. So Because again, I will not make my family members content or anything like that. I knew, so she died on January 29th, June 29th. And so that was a Saturday. I remember it well, obviously. And so June 28th was a Friday, and jury deliberations were gone. And they carried it over to the next week, to the next Monday. They'd already been doing it for like 4 days, and it was carried over. Okay. And my mother was very supportive of my work with the Kearney case, and she would have loved to, have seen, died knowing that, Karen Reed was not guilty, because it would have not just for Karen Reed, but more for me, for her son, because she knew how much that would mean to me. So that happened on the 29th. Okay, June 29th. And it happened like in the morning. I was luckily all I'm the oldest of 7 kids. And one of my brothers texted me and is like, need to get over here now. Like, and I knew what was happening. So, because she was obviously very sick. And so, but we don't, like, I have one brother that lives in Dallas, another lives in Pittsburgh, and then 2 in Boston, 1 in the Metro West, and then 2 in Worcester. Me and my sister are living in the Worcester area. So, but all 7 of the kids and my dad were there when she died. It was a wonderful thing that when that can happen. All 7 kids were there when my mother died. And my kids got to see her one last time. So it was as far as dying goes, it's like it doesn't get better than that, to be surrounded by everybody who you dedicate your entire life to, etc. So that happened on the 29th. And so then the Sunday is the 30th, and then July 1st, we're back at it in Dedham. And, obviously you're grieving the loss of your mother. It's a big thing, but the verdict could happen. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't not go. I contemplated not going, but I can't not go. Like, I need to keep busy. I need to keep my mind on things. And it doesn't really hit you. I can be honest with you. The death of my mother didn't really start hitting me until random times. And anybody who's lost their mother can probably relate to this. There's been shit where my mom was just good at being there for, like, giving good advice when, you're in a, sometimes there's some shit I felt uncomfortable talking to her with, obviously, about, like, she couldn't understand, but other shit where you just really value her opinion and her input. And, and I had a conversation with my dad about this, and I'm just like, I'm like, Dad, there's like some stuff. I'm like, when he asks, he's like, I'm like, there's times where it's just like, that's when you miss her the most, is when you need advice on something, or like you just need someone to talk to or vent to about this. And I'm like, Dad, no offense, we never had that relationship. You know what I mean? I never can. And he's like, no, I totally get it. Like, I'm the same way, because everybody has, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has a different relationship with their mom and their dad, and they both do great things for you, and you love them the same, etc. And then they're just, so like on that Monday, it really wasn't hitting me that hard yet. Like, it really doesn't start hitting you until there are times in life when you need them. That's when it hits you the most, is when those times in your life that you need them. And that's when it's fucking hard, because you're like, fuck, she's not, like, if I went to jail again, it would hit me hard then, because I talked to my mom every day in jail, so I think that would make it especially harder this time around, if that makes sense. But anyway, so I decided to go to court that day, and I remember standing in line, and I was just talking to Jess Machado and Sue O'Connell, and they're like, how was your weekend? And I'm like, my mom died. And they were just like, what the fuck? Like, they just felt horrible. But I'm like, and that's why I didn't want to bring it up. That's why I didn't want to tell anyone, because I knew I was going to walk all around. There's a million people down there, and talk to everyone And I didn't need every single person I talked to giving me their condolences. It was too much. You know what I mean? So I was just going to go on work, and it wasn't in the newspaper, even though my mother was like an elected official. She was on the Worcester School Committee for 18 years. So I knew that when, the news got wind that she died, especially because my mother too, that it was going to be in the newspaper, and eventually was. But so I forgot who I told. I told Kelly Reed. And I think somebody else told, I forget the story. And Kelly Reed came up to me and she gave me a hug or whatever. And then she was like, Karen, and wants you to come inside. So the inside, I never went inside the church area where they all assembled. And here's Karen Reed on who must be experiencing intense anxiety, that the likes of which I've never probably felt, knowing that there are 12 people deliberating whether or not she should go to jail potentially for the rest of her life right now. She doesn't know what they're saying. This is the 5th day of this. And Karen Reed invites me into the church, and I don't know what for. And and then I get in there and Kelly's like, I know you didn't want me to tell anyone, but I had to tell them. And Karen Reed gave me a hug, and it was a very heartfelt, genuine expression of sympathy and grief. And the same happened with, Alan, Liza, and David. And it's like those guys, like people, I got pissed off when people say about like Alan Jackson, like that he's like a sleazeball. Alan Jackson is like the most down to earth, nicest fucking guy you've ever met in your life, ever. He is one of the coolest guys ever. All of her lawyers are great, but Alan Jackson in particular gets like this rap that he's like this Hollywood, guy who's scummy lawyer. Like that's the way, but he's a really, really nice person. Like Alan Jackson, he always asks me doesn't want to talk about the case first. Like the first thing he always wants to talk about is, how are you doing? You know what I mean? And he seems genuine about it, about the way he talks. So, and with Karen too. So for her to invite me in there and to express sympathy and grief, while she was experiencing God knows what, that meant a lot. That meant a lot that she did that. And that's who Karen Reed is. And I think and obviously her and I have had our differences, and that's well documented or whatever, but that's who she is. She was raised right. And so were her attorneys. So that was really nice of them to do. So they invite me in there on that day. And, we talked for like 30 minutes. It was the first time we've had a conversation like that. We never, whatever. And it was really nice. So anyway, so back to the article here. So that's what was happening on those days. So now it was the weekend, and before the jury reconvened, 2 things happened. First, Aidan Kearney's mother, who had pancreatic cancer, died. The second event, Kearney only learned about only as jury deliberations resumed on Monday morning. So I stayed at Meredith's house on Sunday night, and I wasn't in Worcester County that night. And my family had, the last person inside my dad's house that night was like, I don't know, probably 8:00. The last time they went into the house, nothing was there. And then they wake up in the morning. Okay. And a person contacted Kearney via Facebook to say that the police were at Kearney's house in Worcester. So I get contacted. Somebody messages me on Facebook and they go, I was just driving by your parents' house, and, there's police everywhere there. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I contacted my dad. I'm like, somebody just messaged me. There's police at the house. What's going on? He's like, I didn't want to alert you or alarm you, but, and then he sends me a picture of a turtle with a bullet through its head. And the bullet that through its head was used to hang it. No. The rope it was a noose. It was like a real fucking noose around the fucking turtle's neck, which was like stretched out. A huge snapping turtle. Fucking insane. And so I'm like, he's like, I didn't want to alarm you because I know you're at this Karen Reed thing. That's who my dad is. He's like, I didn't want to bother you with it. I know. And he kind of chuckled it off like, this is fucking crazy. Like, what is going on? And so that's, what they're dealing with. And I'm like, to this day, we suspected a guy by the name of 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. I'm still convinced 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 did it. I don't know who the fuck else would do it. And the Worcester police, to their credit, the detectives the first thing they did was go up and down my parents' street, knocking on every fucking door and asking them for ring camera footage. That's the first thing they did. And they came back, and my parents live in a lot of these Worcester neighborhoods on the west side, especially, are like Victorian homes built in like the 1800s or early 1900s. So a lot of old people live in these homes, and people that don't have ring cameras. It's not like a new development or some shit like that where my parents live. They live in the west side of Worcester, which is very, it's nice. It's not crime ridden or anything like that, but the homes are a lot of the older homes. You know what I mean? And so they said to me, the detective is like, I have never seen a street with less ring cameras than your parents' street. Like, nobody's got a fucking ring camera. And so I'm like, who the fuck would have done this? And I immediately suspected, the Krustys of the world, the Lindsays of the world. Like, they're fucking crazy, but they're women too. Like, kind of. I'm like, it just seemed like a male crime. You know what I mean? Like, they have the obsession enough to do something like that. And they've threatened to come to my parents' house before, but you got to kill a turtle. You got to fucking put a bullet through a turtle's head and then fucking hang it from my parents' house. Now, in fairness, I don't think this had anything to do with my mother dying. I think it was just because I didn't publicize that this has happened. So I don't think the person who did this had any fucking clue. I think it was 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. The Worcester police have investigated it. They can't give me details about what they did. They alluded to the fact that they subpoenaed his Lyft because he doesn't drive. So he would have to, and he lives in Clinton. So he would have to take Lyft or Uber to my house. I contacted the detectives a few months ago. I'm like, any updates on that? And they go, the investigation's closed. We hit a dead end. We've investigated pretty thoroughly, investigated a lot of resources into this. And because they wanted to find it, they were disgusted by this, So I guess, but at least the Worcester police, unlike the fucking state police, did an actual investigation for a turtle, not a dead cop, a turtle. They did that for. So, there's that. Anyway. The turtle had what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the back of the shell. I think it was through its neck, actually, according to the police report, and an exit wound near its belly. Oh, Jesus Christ. Kearney's father, the police report went on to say, explained that his son, Aidan Kearney, is Turtleboy, a popular article writer. Mr. Kearney also mentioned that he and his family have been the victims of harassment for some time now due to his son's occupation, but nothing to the extent of today's incident. Krusty Panties has contacted them before. She has sent stuff in the mail to them about me, being with other women and whatever, and just alerting them. Like, she's announced this on her show. I'm going to be sending shit to your parents' house, son. So you better check your mail. Like, she actually said that. I might even have that one where she's like, you better tell your parents to check their mail because I sent them something today, son. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? But anyway, like, she's just obsessed. Like, there's no other way. Like, listen to this. Like, listen to this rant right here. And you tell me if this person isn't fucking sick.
That he's mad at. Julie, if you ever hear this, you better kick and scream for that mandatory parenting class or terminate his rights. There is no in between. He will fuck those kids up. I've seen it. My parents had a divorce like that. Not half as bad as what I think Aidan would be. I don't got a narcissistic father like that. They just got some animosity, right, that they couldn't handle. He's a straight up toxic narcissist. He will use a child to hurt an adult. Yeah, Holly, I'm addressing his wife. I am not ordered not to do so. I've never harassed a woman, and I stand by it. I messaged her on Facebook once to alert her that her husband had just accidentally revealed that he was trying to sleep with another woman. At the time, I didn't know about Leah, which makes it even funnier because it means that not only was he outing himself for cheating on his wife, but cheating on his mistress, Leah Gendouso, at the same time. I could talk to his wife. I mean, quite frankly, I'm probably going to reach out to his wife tomorrow morning, and I'm going to ask her respectfully to have a conversation with her husband and have him remove all the derogatory, disgusting posts referencing my children so that we don't have to push this any further. Okay? Because I feel like out of the two of them, the real adult is probably his wife. And
100%.
Woman to woman.
Like, she actually did that. She sent an email to her school, and it was like, and she just wants nothing to do with any of this, doesn't give a fuck. And it's just like, who is this lunatic contacting me? And I'm like, it's just crusty panties, because she's not involved in Turtleboy world. She doesn't know any of this shit. She doesn't care. Like, it was by design. And Krusty just wanted them to get involved. Like, just, do you hear the anger in her voice? So listen to how angry this one is.
I am going scorched fucking earth now. You do not fuck with my children. Everybody's going to pay the piper on this one. You should have never fucked with my kid.
And I'd like to point out,
just the anger. Like, that is a psycho right there, you know, and just the anger in her voice. It's just like, so you hear those and you're like, that person has the capability of doing something like this. But I also don't know if she would shoot a turtle in the back of the, I don't know. That's like a different level. It seemed like a male crime. I think it was 𝗃𝗂𝗍𝗄. I will always think it was 𝗃𝗂𝗍𝗄. I don't know what the police did exactly to investigate him. But I will die thinking he fucking did that. No doubt. Couldn't have been me. The Worcester police have made the clear in their reports. Like, I was in fucking Boston the night before. Some of them suggested, like, 𝗄𝗄𝗆 𝗵𝗇. That was like the first thing people said. I'm like, no, I was gone. It definitely was not me. Nor to ever fucking do that the day after my mother died. That'd be weird. But anyway, back to this. On Monday, after the jury had sent several notes suggesting that it was at an impasse, the judge declared a mistrial. Kearney was deflated. Though one can make a strong argument that absent Kearney's involvement, Karen Reed would have been much more likely to have been found guilty. He took little succor in that. A new trial was scheduled for this past January, deferred to April. Okay. So they talk about the double jeopardy thing here. We don't have to get into that. After recovering from his initial dismay at the mistrial, Kearney carried on undeterred. He connected new field experiments, explored new angles, and covered every new development. He got a juror to speak on the record about the deliberations. This juror, according to him, believed that Reed guilty of manslaughter. Those who believed Reed was guilty focused on how drunk she was and on the acceleration data from the car. Those who believed her not guilty did not buy that O'Keefe's injuries could have been caused by a collision. Many of these issues Kearney considered most important. Of the issues that Kearney considered most important, the conspiracy stuff, were apparently not central to their deliberations. And I said, I'm in this world where I consume Karen Reed content all day, every day, and we all know it like the back of our hand, but the people deciding this case didn't really know it that well, if that makes sense. On a live stream shortly after speaking with the juror, Kearney let rip. Yes, the jury had unanimously taken murder off the table, but how could any sentient juror have believed what he now knew some of them did? If you were to question any of the jurors who voted guilty on the manslaughter charge about whether they would have staked their children's lives on that verdict being correct, he asked rhetorically, what would they say? Would you bet your children's lives on the fact that Karen Reed's guilty? Would you? Would you? Because I would bet anyone's, like literally anyone's life, that Karen Reed's not guilty. And I wouldn't think twice about it. I'm not fucking positive. And he couldn't understand how the jurors considered her guilty of anything, could think otherwise. I hope they burn in hell, to be perfectly honest. I really do. They're fucking terrible people. And you know what? I stand by that. I stand by that statement. I think the jurors that voted Karen Reed to be guilty are evil. I do. I fucking do. But that you're that okay. Like, because none of them, not a single one of those jurors that voted Karen Reed guilty would bet their own fucking life on it. Not one of them. And I would bet mine that Karen Reed is not guilty. And I wouldn't think twice about it. Like, gun to your head. Is Karen Reed guilty or not guilty? If you get it wrong, I'm going to fucking shoot you. Oh, she's fucking not guilty. Done. I'm alive. See? Is that fucking easy? They wouldn't do that. That's the difference between us and them. Like all of us would be like, dude, no fuck away. They would not bet their lives on it. And unless you would bet your own life that Karen Reed is guilty, you should not feel comfortable taking her life away from her, which you would be doing by voting guilty. So I hope people understand that. You know, on a live stream shortly after speaking with the juror, yeah, I already read that. Kearney and Reed had stopped talking just before he was imprisoned in December of 2023. And, you know, I might have been over this. Like the last time I spoke to Karen Reed before, you know, jail was Christmas Eve. And she was not happy with me because she had warned me about 𝗁𝗲𝗃𝗃. And Aidan, she's trouble. She's not pregnant. Telling you, blah, blah. And so, you know, when I messaged her that there was a warrant out for my arrest, she was like, what is wrong with you? Like that was the tenor of it, which I thought was a little insensitive, you know, but I get it. She's like, they're going to tie this to me. Like she was disappointed. Let's just put it that way. And obviously I couldn't call her during jail or anything like that. And so when I got out, I didn't know where we stood. But through David Yannetti, he's friends with Tim Bradel, like, and he let him know, like, we all still appreciate what Aidan does. We just have to keep our distance. You know what I mean? That's what he made it clear, you know? But on June 6th of last year, when I met him after court, he told me, I actually talked to Karen for the first time today in 6 months and explained how he'd asked her a question outside court about footage of her car's taillight, and she'd answered him with a big smile. Kearney told me that he and Reed resumed private contact a few days after the conversation in the street. The ice broke on June 10th. I just decided to send her a message that night, and I said about Michael Proctor's testimony. I sent her a message on Signal, and I just said, good day. Now the whole world knows what an asshole he is. She replied, concurring, and that reinvigorated the conversation between the two of us. And now they're back in more regular communication. Definitely not as much as before. I don't want to bother her. Quite frankly, it's like she's busy. And also, it's not like the old days. There's a much bigger microscope on us now. Like, it's not like the old days. Like, they're always trying to get us jammed up for something. So we can talk and it's always about the case. And we can do that, but it's not like the old days where it's like, you know, and everything, the case is so much bigger now. You know what I mean? There's so much more of an eye on it. Back then, I was trying to tell the story and get the news out there. Now it's all out there. Now there's a million different ways this shit can get consumed. A million different ways. Anyway, when we're almost done here, page 44 or 46. When Kearney sometimes talks about the case, the cause of defending Reed's innocence as a kind of calling, he can sound jarringly grandiose. If he were to allow his arrest on trumped up ridiculous charges to cause him to back off, he told me one day, I feel like I would be almost disrespecting everything our founding fathers believed in and risked their lives for. Our founding fathers were rich, all of them. And so they had the most to lose. People like Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, they could have just gotten along under British rule. And I mean that, like they could have, our founding fathers would have been fine. They would have been like, yeah, whatever. Taxes are a little high for sure. The tea sucks. Tea's no good, you know, but I own a shitload of land and I have a couple servants. Some of them had slaves. So life wasn't bad. Like life was okay for the founding. Life was pretty good for the founding fathers. There was no Wi-Fi, but besides that, it was pretty good. And so they could have got along fine. But no, instead, they signed this thing called the Declaration of Independence, which was also known as their death warrant. Okay. They would have been fine, but principle matters with these people. Right. And when they signed the Declaration of Independence, they knew there was probably like a 90% chance they just signed their own death warrant, but it was worth it. It was worth it to abolitionists, to people like Martin Luther King. The great people in American history are the people who risked their own well-being for something bigger than themselves. I'm not comparing myself to them. People listening to that are going to say, so you're saying there's a lineage, Ben Franklin, John Adams, Martin Luther King, Turtleboy? And I said, yeah, well, I think what's happening with Karen Reed is along those lines. Obviously, this is a smaller scale. I'm not George Washington, but I just feel like you have to speak up about this. And so he goes on, fighting his own witness intimidation charges while chronicling with renewed intensity each twist in the Kearney saga. I'm going to ride this out as long as I can because it's my thing. I thought it was an excellent fucking article, man. How can you not like that article? How could I want any? That was great. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. Okay. Anyway, it's getting a little late. It's midnight. So I'm going to read some turtle chats in a minute. I guess we're not going to have time to get the motions and lemonade. And I wanted to show this tail light video that came out. Tomorrow night, I'm going on a channel called Justice Served to do a little interview with them. Then we'll have Sex Cult Thursday. I mean, but I want to go over to Motions and Lemonade. I'll write about it, I'm sure. Not enough hours in a day, but we'll see. I thought the article was excellent. Excellent. So, I don't know what these fucking trolls are so retarded. They're like, oh, it's bad. It's like, first of all, it's the Atlantic. It's a huge publication. Secondly, the article's fucking baller. Like, how can I not love that article? Anyway, let me read some turtle chats here, shall we? Fancy Fact Finder sends $10, goes, I think you broke something huge by your miming with words. City selectman is paranoid and somehow gets the town gossip to keep Canton people in check. How sinister is that? Just insane. What's unfolding? The world is watching. Exactly. Nancy sends 25 and goes, excellent show. Sharing the turtle tales. Wishing you the best outcome possible next week. Hashtag free turtle boy. Well, thank you very much, Nancy. Plant Lady sends $10, goes, Chris nailed it. What a great article. He definitely studied you and captured who you are perfectly. I have been LMAO listening to you read it. Thanks for another amazing show. Never stop being you. This article exactly why I love it here. Free Karen Reed, free Turtle Boy. Thank you, Plant Lady. Tattoos on YouTube sends $5 and goes, my roomie and I are starting a weekly walk on the Vegas Strip to hold signs for the Free Karen and Free Turtle Boy movement. It's time to help this movement build more momentum. Screw the lying bastards. Let's fuck. Well, thank you, Tattoos. Melissa sends 25 and goes, please say happy birthday to sweet Nicolette. Happy birthday, Nicolette. She's a turtle rider from Boston and the best boss. Now friend a person could ever have. Free Karen Reed and free Turtle Boy. Well, thank you very much. Evie Klein sends $5 and goes, do you make as much as a Canton cop? Those fuckers are rolling in it. Probably not. Not yet. Jessica sends $25 and goes, Dr. Turtle Boy, wish a happy birthday to my friend and turtle rider Lisa from Kansas City. Free Karen Reed. Happy birthday, Lisa from Kansas City. Sorry about the Chiefs. You know, you probably don't like me in the Super Bowl time because I was all about the Eagles. But, you know, happy birthday anyway. Kim sends $25, goes, the article made it clear that you are authentic, passionate, and fearless. I loved it. Exactly, Kim. Thank you. Kelly sends $10, goes, I just sent you a tribute song for Clay on X. It needs music. It's pretty sad. Might make you cry. I hope you read it. I will. I'll read it afterwards. Thank you. Anonymous sends $5 and goes, McAlbert Mafia is leading 5-star reviews for Hank, though most couldn't even afford him. And they are leaving 5 stars for D&E and Moratis Flooring, but 1 star for Canton Fence Kingpin Rich. Maybe we need to switch that. Maybe people need to get on that. I don't know. I don't want to get charged with witness intimidation for causing economic harm to someone, even though they do it all the time. Okay. Amanda Jackson sends $25, goes, Dr. Turtle Boy, Daddy, Aidan, I'm from Chicago, and I found you right after the whole Karen Reed incident and followed you ever since. I love how you're unapologetically you and tell the story no matter what, not only on the Karen Reed stuff, but with all things. We are totally aligned on almost everything. I'm so proud of you. This article is huge. I'll happily continue confronting these losers on Twitter with severe Turtle Boy derangement syndrome. I'm a huge fan and really just super happy and proud of you. You deserve all the good shit coming to you, especially after the bullshit you've been through. Keep fighting. Well, thank you very much, Amanda. Frank sends $5 and goes, I've titty fucked that slob Michael Morrissey as well as Matt McCabe. I preferred Matt. Okay. That's Frank Canoni sends that. Okay. $10 from Stacy. It says, the big story will be called the Canton Crime Ring. Years and years of corruption exposed in one story. Exactly. David sends $10 and goes, just remember that you're going through this persecution because you wouldn't give them McDonough. I know. If I had just given up McDonough, all my problems could be solved. Give us fucking McDonough. You know, Aidan, telling you right now.
But I can tell you right now, I'll say it, all right? Hey, Aidan, give us fucking McDonough and we'll go easy on you.
They would have taken it.
How can 𝗫𝗎 and 𝗫𝗏𝗏 and all these other cops, Proctor, say, this guy's killing us, right? I did a thing. Proctor, you're going to jail. You don't tell me that they could induce people to come after me. I get it. It's fine. But I'm not going to be done like a Bobo, all right? And
those never get old. Those never get old. Okay. Next up, we have here, give us fucking McDonough. Give us fucking McDonough. He took all his videos down. All his streams are gone. They're just gone. So I don't know what McDonough's up to. I guess they're not. I don't know if they want him anymore. I guess they gave up on him. Angela sends. No, I already read that one. Okay. Okay. Let me just refresh this if we missed any. Rebecca sends $5. Goes, I just wanted to tell you I love the article and keep doing great. Pray for you and Karen daily and trying to show the corruption from here in Indiana, and we'll continue to build your name and hopefully help you guys. Also, sorry about your mom. Oh, thank you very much and pray for you. It's one of my fears is I have a chronic pancreatitis and pancreatic divisium, and they monitor for pancreatic cancer. Yeah, it's a horrible kind of cancer. So stay on that. Love your channel. Free Karen Reed and free Turtleboy. Well, thank you. Jam Cracker sends $50 and goes, great article. Touching story about your meet with Karen and team after your sweet mom passed. I'm proud to be part of this movement. Thank you, Aidan. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. Thank you very much, Jam Cracker. Got a couple cash apps here. Nancy sends $50 and says, to my friend Mark, who's addicted to crazy too. You know, thank you very much, Nancy. Jack sends, I know Lisa sends, no, Tracy, apologize, sends $5 and goes, give us fucking McDonough. Never gets old, does it? It literally, it's just, I couldn't believe it when he said that.
But I can tell you right now, I'll say it, all right? Hey, Aidan, give us fucking McDonough and we'll go easy on you.
He was serious. When I heard that, I'm like, what am I listening to? This is, that was when he was explaining why he wouldn't return him. He wouldn't return my texts when I first got out of jail because he thought, you know, that they were using, that they had flipped me to get to him. Like, okay. Lisa sends $10 and goes, love you, Aidan. Great article. Stay strong. Well, thank you very much, Lisa. Tracy sends $5 and says, may your civil suits make you a wealthy man. That's the plan. Thank you, Tracy. And she also sends $5 and says, kudos to Chris. Wow. Justice for Turtleboy. Well, thank you very much. Jenna sends $10 and goes, loved your interview with AV. Yeah, check out her channel. I did a stream. I posted on social media. I did a stream with her last night. She sounds like she's kind of new to the case. So it's kind of like a good refresher course for newbies. So go check that out. Thank you, Jenna. Naomi sends $5 and goes, please remind me when you're hosting trivia night. Oh, fuck. I don't even know the exact date. April 5th, I want to say. Don't hold me to that. I'll make another post about it. Thank you, Naomi. Nancy sends $50. All right, no, I already read that one. Jack sends $10 and goes, Phelps doing promo for ID documentary 𝗫𝗄𝗄𝗆 in it. Oh, is he? Don't tell me he's featured in that. No fucking way. No way. Thank you, Jack. Daniel sends $10 and goes, anyway, I could be. No, I already read that one. Okay, cool. All right. I think she gets it. Totally. She was great. Nice lady. Okay, cool. Anybody else? That's it for Turtle Chats. Anybody else got anything to say before we call it a night? I'll never give him up. I never gave McDonough up to this day. Never gave him up. Are all these new motions going to delay this? No, these are motions and lemonade. So those are like in and out. But the federal investigation one, being able to talk about that, I think is the most important one of all of them. There's a lot of interesting ones, but that's the most important. All right, I gotta be honest. You missed my turtle chat, K-Mac. Did I? What'd you send it as, K-Mac? I don't see. I read all of them that came through. Wait, did I miss some of these? Oh, hold on. Hold on. I got some more here. I didn't see. You're right. You're right. Kelly sends $10 and says, Google it. There is a federal wiretap act. I checked before I sent comment. Okay. I will have to Google that. Thank you. Desiree sends 25 and goes, no way is that okay. Chris is secretly listening in on conversations regarding private health or financial records on any attorney-client or any attorney-client privilege conversations. The video is truly hilarious. Will Judge Bev do the right thing regarding juror intimidation by the McAlberts? I hope so. Thank you. Emily sends $10, goes, of course, Chris Albert would be the one person that tries to get you back in jail. No, I think I read that already. Okay. I'm not sure if there's more. If I read that, K-Mac, maybe was one of those yours. I don't know. Those are the two I missed. I believe those are the two I missed. I don't know. Let me refresh. No, if I missed you, K-Mac, I don't know. You sent it as K-Mac. I don't want to miss someone that sends a turtle chat because, you know, but let me just double check that. I feel like I would remember seeing K-Mac. K-Mac, I got nothing there. I got nothing from a K-Mac. I don't know if it didn't go through or what, but I got nothing there. Sorry. Do have another Cash App here from Tracy that says, give us fucking McDonough. Okay. Give us fucking McDonough. Okay, excellent. Okay. All right, cool. Anybody else got anything to say? Does he still have a hair on a boomer queen? Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, cool. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it a night then. I love all you fine people. It's past 12. We still get over 5,000 people here strong. Give us a big thumbs up afterwards. I don't know how many thumbs up this show has so far. What are we at right now? 2,100. That's nice to see. Okay. All right, guys. We will see you guys all for the next episode of Turtle Boy Live on Saturday night. Turtle Sex Cult on Thursday night, and free Canary, baby. Talk to you guys later. Peace.